Welcome everybody to Happy Boxing Podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. It's your good friend, Mr. BDA, and I sure am glad, that's right, sure I'm glad that everybody could be on board for this one. Fellas, in this episode, we get a fantastic one for you. Another edition of the morning podcast, or patented, copyrighted, and exercised, that's right, sanctified, deified morning podcast. We're here to talk boxing, get you to the day by starting it off well with a daily dose of BDA. You don't need caffeine. Well, actually, I do. So if you get your beverage of choice, maybe having a little breakfast, maybe you've been up all night. I don't know. I don't judge. We're here to talk a little boxing. We get a lot to cover. But before we get down to the fun, let's get the business out of the way, fellas. You know the drill. If you want to donate a couple of shekels our way, you're certainly welcome to do so via the Super Chat feature. It's always better if you join the membership program. That way you get more bang for your buck. Don't forget to join our Patreon page. You can join for free or donate as much or as little as you like. And you get some free content either way, all right? I'll actually start posting some stuff there. I got to get back on track with some of the film analysis that we can't do on the main channel, but that we can do on Patreon, all right? So stay tuned for that. You can also donate via the Buy Me a Coffee app, link in the description below. Don't forget to check out some of the latest videos we've done on the big fight between Canelo and Crawford. And that's about it. I guess the most important thing is to like and subscribe. Like I always say, like, subscribe, spread that BDA gospel. And we'll really appreciate it on this overcast morning here in Montreal, Canada. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I see Host of Nightmares. I don't know. I still don't see the actual handles, or the names rather. I see the handles. Anyways, I think that's Sobers. Shout out to him. Desperado, Knockout Ned, Langsbury, Kevin from Chicago, Severino. Shout out to him. Ben X, Langsbury, Hard Recoil, Knockout Ned, Carlos, Team Badman Boxing, Green Reaper, Gonzalo, I think that's Gonzalo. Earl Stevens, shout out to Earl, shout out to Earl. Who else we got? Miso Dionysian, Real Talk Combat, User XQ. Oh, yeah, see, I don't, the Sergeant in the house as well. I don't understand why I don't see the names. That's, I think they gotta really start getting their act together on YouTube, or maybe it's our fault. I don't know. I really don't care at this point. Got a lot of stuff to do. But I do wish I could see the names along with all that stuff I gotta do. Anyway, listen, we got a lot to talk about. A lot of good fights took place this last weekend. No big fights, but interesting fights nonetheless. And of course, we got some drama. Can you believe it? A little bit of drama. This past week. Actually, what was it? Yesterday, the whole Canelo Ennis news. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. But before we get down to the drama, we do got to talk a little boxing. Just a little bit, guys, all right? We're going to get to it. Don't worry. We just got to cover some of the fights that took place. It's interesting. Everyone's always talking about, not all the time, but I guess what I should say is ever since the news broke out about Jake Paul versus Tank Davis, a lot of people have besmirched both guys. And listen, with good reason. It's not exactly the fight that people wanted, Tank Davis. I mean, I voiced my opinion on Friday's morning show. But it is interesting that Jake Paul, as it pertains to him being a promoter, at least as it pertains to him being a promoter, has actually done a decent job with boxing. And this past weekend was dry. A lot of big fights missing, right? When there was no, I think there was a Queensberry promotion, but I mean, who really has the time for that? Or I don't know if it was Matchroom. No Golden Boy, no Top Rank, no PBC. Of course, no surprise there. But instead what we got on the zone were a couple of MVP cards, most valuable promotions that Jake's Paul promotional outfit. They actually put on some good fights. So let's talk about them before we get down to the fun here as it pertains to some of the other wilder news. So we got on the zone Saturday night. Interesting main event between Yanquiel Rivera and Angelino Cordova from Venezuela, Rivera from Puerto Rico. And this was an interesting fight, to say the least. First of all, the guy on the, hold on a second, let me show you the pictures here. Well, the guy on the left, that's the Puerto Rican, the one with the bleached Simon Phoenix hair. And the guy on the right, that's Cordova from Venezuela, being trained by Ismael Salas. Everyone's always praising Salas for being such a good trainer, and I do believe he's a good trainer, but you wouldn't have thought about it, or you wouldn't have thought that actually by looking at how Cordova fought the guy on the left now. This dude with the red trunks, in other words, this dude came out swinging like Ricardo Mayorga, or trying to do his best Ricardo Mayorga impersonation. And from then on in, and he was falling all over the place too in the first round, I believe. It didn't get any better. There were a lot of trips, a lot of falls, some knockdowns, point deductions. The referee, Luis Pabon from Puerto Rico, I believe, had his shirt covered in sweat. Disgusting. From all the touching he had to do of these fighters. I think he kept referring to one of the fighters, or maybe both, as Papi. Okay, Papi, okay, Papi. Papi? The fuck? You're not in a bodega in Brooklyn here. You gotta be a little bit more professional. Be it as it may, Rivera ended up scoring a knockdown. Cordova had a point deducted in the 6th round, I believe, or maybe that's when the knockdown took place. Interestingly enough, Judge Robert Hoyle managed to score the bout for Cordova, who did a lot of clinching. Oh yeah, headbutting too. Rivera ended up getting caught by a headbutt. And I don't know, maybe listen, I was watching the fight with the people on Discord. We were commenting on Discord. Not that we were watching it, all of us on the same stream, because that would be illegal and against the law. But I think. Anyway, the point is, we were all watching independently, but commenting on the Discord, and we were making fun of the fight. That's the only thing that made it acceptable for me. Ultimately, I mean, it was a kind of a fun, sloppy fight. Be that as it may, Judge Robert Hoyle managed to score the bout for Cordova by 4 points, 115-111, but was then overruled by judges Alex Levine and James Ged O'Connor, who both scored at 113-113, so the fight was ruled a majority draw. Interestingly enough, you look at Hoyle's scorecard, 115-111, that's considering that Cordova was deducted 2 points, one for a knockdown, one for a clinch, I believe, or punch, I forget what it was. Hoyle still managed to score a 115-111, meaning without the knockdown and the point deductions, he would have had a 117-111 for Cordova. That is insane. That is absolutely insane. Ismael Salas also got into it with the referee. The referee almost kicked Salas out of the corner. Believe it or not, it's like, hey, you don't shut up. I kick you out. Okay, I kick you out. It did look like, I don't know. Salas is from Cuba, right? I think he's Cuban. It looked like one of those I don't know, disagreements you see between people playing dominoes outside of a bodega in Brooklyn. That's what it looked like to me. They were screaming at each other. One guy's covered in sweat. Maybe it looked like they were in the streets of Florida. And indeed, this fight was in Florida. So anyway, what an interesting fight. This was in the, which division was it in? Hold on. I'm looking at the, it was for a vacant, I believe, WBA flyweight title. Yeah, the fight. I don't think any flyweight is shaking his boots, his little boots, looking at these two guys. Although Yanquier Rivera was okay, but this Cordova guy, I don't want to see Cordova fight again. Let me tell you, unless he's being put in there against a guy that's gonna beat him up, because this dude was dirty, clinching, swinging. There was a round in which he fell, I gotta say, 7 times. He would clinch and then fall onto the ground. Oh, I'm hurt. And then he would look at the ref like, can you believe that this guy keeps pushing me down? Fucker, you keep clinching. You keep clinching like a molester. Like you're a molester in a train or something. I mean, I gotta tell you, this was bizarre. This was absolutely bizarre. And I don't like it. That's all I gotta say about that. Hold on a second. I'm trying to look through some things here. All right, so that was the fight right there. We got to keep moving on here. What else do we have? We also had in the undercard. The undercard was much better. Abbas Barao ended up taking Yoenis Tellez's undefeated record in a junior middleweight matchup, shootout. And let me tell you something. Barao, he lost to Jack Colke. I was looking for the fight. Didn't get a chance to watch it, so I didn't really get to see how Barao looked against his best opponent. But he did have some other interesting wins in the build-up to that fight. And Tellez was looking like a bit of a terror, a junior middleweight, Cuban, undefeated. One of these guys, no longer one of those Cubans that runs around the ring. No, this is an aggressive Cuban. So I was thinking, okay, we'll see what Barao from Germany, I think by way of Nigeria, I forget, I got to check. Let's see what he can do. Barao ended up dropping Tellez in the last round. That is after outworking him, landing the cleaner shots, making Tellez's life a living hell. And my goodness gracious, you gotta watch out with these African fighters. All right, listen, anybody that's from Argentina, Mexico, Thailand. Some of these dudes, you gotta watch their fights because you look at the records and you think, this guy, easy work, but you never know who you're dealing with. And Barao ended up outworking Tellez. Tellez did his best to fight back, but he was just getting his head snapped around, back and forth. Barao was landing the cleaner shots. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to rewatch the fight because I did miss about 4.5 rounds of the fight. So I don't know if Tellez actually won those rounds. I asked people on Discord. They told me that they were okay. They were kind of even. But I think after the third, that's when Tellez ended up taking over. Barao, excuse me. That's when Barao ended up taking over. And this dude paced himself quite well. There were times where he wasn't throwing that much. Later in the rounds, maybe it seemed as if he was going to let Tellez take the play away from him or steal the fight. But he came out strong in the 12th round, flurried when he had to, covered up when he had to, but kept pressing. And even when he was boxing, he was having success against Tellez. So I don't know what happened with Tellez. We got to give Barao credit, but I got to tell you, he pulled an Azuma Nelson. Actually, he pulled out better than Azuma Nelson because Nelson couldn't put the finishing touches on Salvador Sanchez and ended up getting stopped. Whereas Barao is the one that came out the winner. So now he makes himself a contender or close to a contender in the junior middleweight division. And you got to watch out for him. But by the way, surprised he got the decision. A lot of us on Discord were saying, he ain't going to get the decision. They're not going to give it to him. Tellez, the undefeated Cuban in Florida, come on. He's not going to get the decision, and he did. And the reason why I was so skeptical about Barao getting the decision is... Sorry, I had to take a sip of my tea there. The reason why I thought Barao was going to get robbed is because, Mexicans, journeymen and all that, they can get robbed. But they're more liberal with robbing some of these dudes, because the Mexican can always go back, but he's still on the other side of the border. He's still close to the United States. A lot of these Africans... Oh, shit, he fought better than we expected. All right, let's give the decision to the favorite, and let's just send this African packing all the way to the continent, as we call it in the industry. And that's it. Who's going to care? People are going to forget about that dude. He's going to wither away in Africa. But this time, they made the right call, the judges did. That's on a card, like I said, where there were some interesting scorecards, to say the least. But shout out to Barao for pulling out a win there. What else? Oh, also on the undercard, Lucas Badi from my neck of the woods. Well, actually, not that. He's from Niagara, so that's outside Quebec. But anyway, close enough, right? Lucas Badi improved to 20-0 with 15 knockouts by decisioning Roger Gutierrez, a good, solid veteran, former titleist, if you care about these titles, these paper titles. And Badi ended up winning by decisions with scorecards of 117, 110, 116, 111, and 115, 112. Badi ended up scoring a 6th-round knockdown, which, was just a nice little touch there on a fight that he won. But I got to tell you, Badi is a late starter in the pro ranks. He's already 30 years old. He was calling on Tank Davis not that long ago. In fact, it was right before he was getting schooled by H2O on one of those Jake Paul undercards. That's obviously before Badi ended up scoring a life-saving, career-saving, I dare say, knockout. Impressive knockout. So we know he's got power. Again, he ended up dropping Gutierrez in his fight on Saturday. But I don't know how far he can go. I really don't. I would suggest, and I know it's a risk, but if they really want to, evidently they want to test him out against, or put him in there against a titleist or go for some sort of title before he gets too old. So I would suggest, if they really want to fast-track him, just put him in there against Cabrera. El Cabron Cabrera, the southpaw, who gave Isaac Cruz a very tough fight. Ended up getting run over by William Cepeda. So if Badi really is about that and is ready for a title shot, and think about it. I'm not saying him against one of the top lightweights. I'm saying a just getting a paper title. All right, Sobers, what's going on, man? I hear. Are you? He's searching for ice. I heard him scraping the giant ice cube, like at the quinceañera.
I prefer my ice melted.
There you go.
No ice. Okay, no ice here.
There you go. Shout out to Sobers for jumping in early in the morning. Really appreciate it. So what was I saying? Yeah, so Badi, if they really want to test him a little bit, see if he's ready, or if he's ever going to be ready for a title shot, put him in there against Cabrera, because Gutierrez just looked like he was fighting in spots. And even then, he landed some good shots on Badi. Buddy is not the fastest, but he is a big puncher. And it seems like at the lightweight division right now, we don't really have a lot of punchers. I mean, Tank Davis, but who knows if he's ever going to fight pro again. Shakur Stevenson definitely ain't nobody's idea of a puncher. Kid Austin, don't let the Tevin Farmer fool you. Don't let that fight fool you. The guy's not really a puncher, at least not that I've ever seen. Who else? Frank Martin can crack. Cepeda is, as we've seen, he's not really that big a puncher, like a punch knockout guy. So we'll see what happens with Buddy. And also, interesting fight on Friday. Like I said, another MVP card that ended up delivering in the main event. Jean Paul, I think that's how you pronounce his first name, Jean Paul Rivera, in the featherweight division, moves up to 13-0 with 7 knockouts by stopping Daniel Bailey, who drops to 15-3 with 8 knockouts. Rivera stopped him in the 6th round. Daniel Bailey he's one of those dudes that fights hands down. He had the Adrian Broner trunks, thinking and finally like his Adrian Broner, Floyd Mayweather, and he got caught with his hands down. He got dropped, ended up getting put in the corner in the following round. I think it was in the following round, and just got stopped. So it was an interesting set of fights from MVP Promotions on the Zone. I was certainly entertained, and hopefully they continue putting on these entertaining cards by way of Florida. Sobers, you watch any of the fights, or you want to get down to
I caught the one on Friday. I didn't catch the card on Saturday. I think it was midday. But I was kind of impressed with Jake Paul's card, He's putting a lot of Islander talent on there. Watch Jake Paul find the next big Puerto Rican superstar.
Oh.
Watch him find a Cuban. Because he's working with all of them. He lives in Puerto Rico. He basically is Puerto Rican, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the fight that I did catch on Friday that I thought was interesting, I can't remember the guys' names, but it was I think it was a Cuban dude, and it was a Brazilian guy. And the fight only lasted 2 rounds, but it looked like a knockout of the year. It looked like a knockout of the year. The dude, like you were saying, the Cuban dude was just fighting with his hands down. You know what I mean? Thinking he was cute, looking at his opponent within punching range. The dude throws a lazy jab, overhand right. Dude drops on his face, just like I would do to Guns. You know what I mean? This shit was crazy.
Come on.
What's up,
Guns? What's up, Guns?
What's up, Gonzalo?
What's up? Let me make some
But
coffee.
that did look like a knockout of the year. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. He was brutal, man. He was.
Hey, Jake Paul a Papi? No, he's a Chico. We don't talk like that.
Yeah, Papi. Yeah, that's who says Papis? That's a Cuban thing or Puerto Rican thing?
That is like Dominican and like Puerto Rican. It's like Islander.
Yeah, Dominican.
That's Islander talk.
Oye, papi, tú no puedes decir esa cosa. All right, listen. What else do we have here? Well, I mean, I gotta tell you, the fight that impressed me the most was Barao upsetting Ennis.
That's the guy's name.
No, I'm talking about that.
No. You're talking about the other fight. Never mind.
Yeah, that's the African. I gotta tell you, man, all these other Cubans, I forget the other guys' names. The ones that Sparring Canelo at middleweight, I believe, or super middleweight, they gotta watch out, man, because it's him, the guy that replaced Morel as an ex-Cuban puncher in the super middleweight division. What's it? Iglesias.
Mm-hmm.
Iglesias, and then the other guy at middleweight. Those guys we gotta watch out now because they're looking good. Tellez was looking good too. He looked good against Julian Williams. Then he steps up against this African guy and gets upset. So again, the Cuban, somebody who was saying that there were a lot of people deriding. Well, not a lot of people. 2 people deriding the Cubans, saying, "Oh, Cubans can't stand up to the heat in the pro ranks. They can't handle the pro rank heat." Somebody else
adapting. They're adapting now because they're escaping the island.
But they
know that there's no future.
But what do you think? Do you think Tellez just didn't he wasn't used to hard sparring or something, or maybe he didn't encounter any resistance in the pro ranks and he wasn't ready for this type of fight? I don't get it.
I don't know. I didn't watch the fight, to be honest.
You're making all these comments like he wasn't ready. He wasn't
ready. Kick him off.
Yeah. You gotta go.
I'm talking about the Cubans. They're picking it up because they gotta. If you can't make it in that, well, and you want to stay here, you want that special privilege as an athlete. If you can't perform, they're gonna send you packing, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we'll see what happens with that, man. But it was very interesting set of cards. People complaining, "Oh, August, there's nothing. We're here on life support until we get to the Canelo Crawford fight." It was a good set of fights. I like them. I like them, and hopefully more people saw them so they continue to make these fights. All right. Don't forget to hit that like, fellas. Hit that like. Hit the like. Hit the like. Really helps us out. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Let's get down to it. The fight here, Canelo's master plan. He's engaging in some black ops here, dark magic. He ended up, this really broke the
Keyword
internet.
BDA.
I'm telling you, man, he broke the internet with this. Canelo Alvarez and Jaron Ennis sparring together in the build-up to Canelo's mega fight against Terrence Bud Crawford on September 13. Let me tell you something. First of all, let's talk about this. The size. I mean, a lot of people have been talking about how Jaron Ennis ain't no fucking welterweight. Look at the size of this dude.
Yeah, they look like they're in the same weight class.
Probably are in the same weight class.
In that photo, they look like they're in the same weight class.
Now, I heard some people saying, yeah, but Jaron Ennis, we don't know if he entered this sparring session in shape. Maybe he just started camp. Okay, whatever. All the people were saying he's wearing a white shirt. They're wearing white shirts. Ennis has it tucked in, whereas Canelo's got it loose, untucked. So it makes him look maybe bigger, or maybe it makes Ennis look slimmer. White actually always makes you look fatter or bigger. That's why fat people wear black. Me, on the other hand, I wear whatever. I look good in whatever color I wear, so I don't worry about that shit. But people like Ennis, that's right. I mean, listen. The only thing I won't wear is pink. I don't know how people do that. These guys walking around with pink shirts, tight pink shirts. I go, come on. But
well, I won't wear pink, but I'll wear lavender.
All right. Well, listen, you're walking a fine line there, sober. But hey, whatever you got to do, man. That's a wild. He's a wild guy, sober. So he lives a wild life. But that was okay. So, and what do you guys say? Okay, let's talk about the size, man. I mean, is there any optical illusion going on here, or is Ennis what we thought he was? Just a
no. You know what's funny, BDA? If Canelo was wearing a smaller, like a tighter fitting shirt, I think he would look even smaller next to Ennis.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And all this bullshit about, you hear people say this when when Canelo signed up to fight Jermell Charlo. He's little, but he's big. That's the biggest That's the most bullshit way I've heard people try to describe Canelo and try to make him look bigger than he is. He's a small guy. He's a small guy. What he's not doing is not cutting 30 pounds to make weight like a lot of these other fighters do. Right? He's not doing that shit like someone like Ennis. It looks like Ennis does it. It looks like Terrence Crawford used to do it, and it looks like someone like Devin Haney used to do it, right?
Oh,
Same thing with Shakur Stevenson. He looks massive. He was supposed to Shakur Stevenson next to what's the dude's name? Zepeda. That's supposed to be his biggest opponent. He still dwarfed him. He still looked a lot heavier than him. So you're seeing these guys. They do this this weight cutting magic, right? And they cut down a lot of weight, and people to see that they lie to themselves about how big they are or whatever, and they lie to themselves about how big Canelo is. When you see these guys next to each other, if you saw these guys in the street, you're gonna say Jaron Ennis is the bigger man. You know what I mean? You're not gonna be like, look at that little big guy next to that average size dude. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's a great breakdown, man. And then people have the goal to say there's no such thing as weight bullying. So then why are these guys doing this? Why are they killing themselves to fight at at least two weight classes below what they actually weight? What they actually weigh? Well, because for the fun of it, they like cutting so much weight. I mean, I gotta tell you, some of these people are not exactly up there when it comes to intelligence. Now, also look at the legs too. By the way, this photo is less definition. I don't know why it's so pixelated, but look at fucking Ennis' legs. They're not exactly twigs in there. We know Canelo has tree trunks for legs. These dudes' legs. So, in other words, what I'm trying to get at is if Ennis look a strong upper body, but he had thin legs, I would say, okay, I understand. Maybe he doesn't have a lot of weight under those things, and maybe his legs are as big as Canelo's. So this dude, I don't know how he made welterweight. I know Thunderdome always had a suspicion that he wasn't making welterweight. You know what I mean? I mean, we can't cast aspersions, but it's unbelievable.
No, I can see that happening. I've seen it. I haven't seen it specifically in boxing, but I've definitely seen it in MMA, where they do little tricks and you can shave a couple pounds off the scale, or entirely, if they do the official weigh-ins right in front of everybody, but the actual weigh-ins are behind closed doors. and they can say, yeah, you made 147.
And by the way, Canelo's actually standing a little bit on the foreground, whereas Ennis is a
He's on
little.
his tippy toes, BDA. He's on his fucking tippy
toes. He's competing. He's fighting for his life to look as big as Ennis is,
Yeah.
just to rival him. Look at that. My goodness gracious. So yeah, listen, I like Ennis as a fighter. He's must-see TV. But this is something that's been said for a while now, and people didn't want to believe it. This dude ain't no fucking welterweight. And I know we're going to hear excuses. Well, everybody does it. No, not everybody does it. You don't see Canelo dwarfing his opponents at super middleweight. They dwarf him. So anyway, that's all I wanted to get into as it pertains to that. But the most interesting thing, too, were some of the comments. People then started to say that Canelo's face looked beat up.
Oh my God!
Trying to zoom in here on the photo.
Oh my fucking God!
I mean, you can't. I mean, I can't really see anything. Maybe a bump. I guess that means yeah.
They zoom in on his left eyebrow. It's on his left eyebrow, and it looks like shadow, right? I mean, he has that what's it called? The cara de nopal, right?
Mm-hmm,
he has that fucking cactus face. That furrowed brow, that Neanderthal eyebrow where the bone kind of protrudes.
Right,
and the skin's hanging off it, right? I mean, that's how it looks. I got that shit, and they zoom in on that, and you can see the shadow of. I mean, that's how a lot of Mexicans have that. Is what I'm trying to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
That fucking, you know what I mean? And you can see the angle. It's the shadow. His face is in the shadow, and they're talking about look how. I seen I think it was on Twitter, and look how swollen Canelo's eye is. It's damn near shut. It's purple, and oh man, he's gonna regret taking it. He's gonna regret hiring Ennis, or someone else even said, BDA, it's perfect that Ennis is sparring Canelo so that he can know who he's dealing with after he sees what Crawford does to him.
I mean, it's perfectly normal for a fighter, obviously, to get hit in sparring. I mean, what is this? I mean, of course, it's boxing. People that think just because he's got a little lump in the eye that's something out of the normal, no, it's completely normal. It's the other way around. But anyway, hey, the freaking grin that Jaron Ennis got, it's hella funny. He looks like starstruck.
Yeah, wait, he has a shit-eating grin, right? I wanted to say that too, because I've seen a lot of comments where people are saying like, "Oh, you never know what was going on in sparring." Like, this so militant with their opinions, bro. They're saying, "Oh, John Ennis is probably whooping Canelo's ass." You know what I mean? And we already we're talking about Timothy Bradley, right? Where he's saying, "Oh, he's gonna take Canelo's money, and then he's gonna go to Crawford's camp because he's black, right? I mean, what other reason? They're not friends, and he's gonna give him all the inside info on how to beat him." Like, it's just fucking ridiculous, dude. But yeah, it's funny that Gonzalez said that he does have a shit-eating grin on. I've never seen anybody so happy to be hugging Canelo. He looks like a mega fan. You know what I mean? He's just happy to be there taking the photo, let alone spar him. And he's probably making more money doing this shit. He's probably making more money letting Canelo whoop his ass than he did fighting Stanionis, or that he's gonna fighting Usima Lima, where the fuck he's fighting next.
Dude, just taking that picture just made him like a bigger star, dude. It just seems like it. Everybody's pissed, the internet.
Your favorite boxer's favorite boxer. You know what I mean, Gonzalo?
Well, it's a bit, it's going to be an interesting. I mean, it really did set off a firestorm, that's for sure, because there's a lot of people from the culture who are rooting for Crawford, but then there's a lot of people who are rooting for Crawford just because he's from the culture. But in reality, they don't really like the guy because they used to be Spence fans. So they were rooting for Ennis. But now Ennis is helping Canelo. And somehow, as we're going to see later, somehow that's some sort of a betrayal. Because, they always say, oh, it's not boxing. We're not racist. We're not this, we're not that. And then they end up doing exactly what a lot of people expect them to, which is to be racist by
Ennis broke code, BDA.
Yeah, they got to stay on code, this and that. And then, of course, we get to hear that. Well, everybody does it. Everybody does it excuse the what about you argument that we always hear. Let me just play this video here too, because somebody else said, shit, it ain't working. Anyway, let me try to find the video here. But Santiago G in the chat says, if you pay attention, Canelo is wearing 2 shirts, and that there was another picture where Canelo removed the white shirt. There's better lighting, and there's nothing on his face. These butt fanboys just don't know how to cope with the news. Well, that's the other thing. I heard people saying, yeah, Jaron Ennis looks so happy because he ended up whooping Canelo in those sparring sessions. That's why he's so happy. I go,
yes.
That's a whole lot of speculation for people really love, man. People love sparring stories. They see a little video. They see a guy hitting the mitts, hitting the bag, and they determine how the fight's gonna go based on that little snippet.
Man, I saw so many comments like that, BDA. Like, he's smiling too hard. You know, he must know something that we don't. He must have been whooping Canelo's ass in there. Like, is that what's going on? Because he looks like a fanboy to me, but whatever.
Well, I mean, it is interesting. I think Bucci was the one that said that once, or I forget who said it. The Devin Haney was talking trash about Canelo once, about 2-3 years ago, and the tweets were up there. And then when he saw Canelo at a fight, there's a picture of them, not hugging, but with their arms around each other, and Devin Haney's smiling. Actually, I think there's actually video. It looks like he's in awe of Canelo, and I'm thinking,
he's
I don't know,
superstar. You know what I'm saying? It's your favorite boxer's favorite boxer.
Well, yeah, I think they're in awe in the fact that this guy actually fights going forward and has fans, which is something these guys lack. I mean, Devin Haney definitely has his devotees on the internet, but they don't pay to see him fight, which is a completely different thing. Whereas Canelo, it really doesn't matter who he fights at this point. There's at least, I mean, I'm not saying he's going to do great numbers, if he fights some bum or whatever, but people want to watch him fight. All right, here's what I want to put.
As a matter of fact,
yes.
As a matter of fact, BD8, they don't not only do they not pay to watch him fight, I think they're paid to have a positive opinion about him.
You know what? That's the rumor, right? That's the rumor that's been around.
That's not so much a rumor. Is his pops would put it out there, right? He made a tweet saying, "Content creators get at me," and he put a bunch of money emojis and money signs. I don't know what else that's suggesting.
How much you think he pays him? Like $100 plus a hot meal, maybe a coupon for Sizzlers.
Yeah, he'll take him out to eat, right? And he'll try to use like Eddie Hearn's credit card.
He gives him a Big Mac. No, he's not with Eddie Hearn anymore. Remember, he's not. I don't think he's
go ahead, champ. Get an extra large.
He flexes. Get whatever you want. Get whatever you want. Yeah. You get a refill. Soda
whatever
refill.
you want on the meal. Yeah.
Hey man,
I'm listening to you guys, but I kind of went on a little like fucking side trip, a little daydream. That sparring between Ennis and Canelo must be fire, dude.
Yeah,
I would want to see it. I'm pretty sure fucking Ennis is. I don't know, dude. He attempted to try to put hands on Canelo, and Canelo tried to get him back. It's good sparring, dude.
I mean, it must be hard sparring at this point because we're about 3 weeks away from the fight. I mean, at this point, it has to be hard sparring, at least for Canelo, unless it was just a little sparring session in between Canelo's other rounds or something. I don't know how they worked it. Here's a video I wanted to play. Here's another little clip here of. Can't play the music because I don't know if it's copyrighted.
Can you screen share?
Oh shit! Yes, my bad. Sorry. God damn. I gotta tell you, these morning streams, I have more energy, but when I set everything up, I tend to forget certain things.
You need some of that. You see that chamomile tea, right? That's what Oscar Valdez had.
Yeah, I got the.
I wish I could hook up Canelo with my Cobra bag. It's like way better than that shit. The one that I made.
You gotta make.
Yeah, the one that I made video is fucking badass, dude.
You gotta show us video afterwards, man. Yeah, this Cobra bag.
Did you just say you had a better Cobra bag?
Yeah, I made it from the floor up. I used rebar.
Yeah. Here, look. Play this video, BDA.
But hold on. Yeah, okay. Jerron Ennis, he looks big, but let's face the facts. His upper body is not as wide as Canelo's. Canelo's just a tree trunk in there. He's a glacier. But I forget too. I don't know why I keep forgetting that Ennis is 5'11". He's about 3 inches taller than Bud Crawford. So I don't know why I always think that that Ennis is 5'9" or something. No, he's a big dude. Tall dude, actually.
He's a big dude.
Tall dude, yes, that's for sure. Which video did you want me to play?
I put it right there in the chat. It's also an exclusive. The training footage from Canelo's camp. He has a special message for anybody choosing Crawford over Canelo.
Is that right? Well,
it's right there in the chat. Yeah, you can see it, right?
All right, let me play this. This is what Sobers put up here. Hold on, sorry, that's not it. That's it. My bad. Hold on. Fuck. That's because I had to download the video and then hopefully this is safe for work, right? What we're gonna play here.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Hopefully this is it. All right, here we go.
We need the audio.
Fuck you.
You guys can hear it.
No, you're here. My bad.
What's with the 1990s Chicago house music? This looks like
Exclusive from
something.
the training camp.
This looks like something Food TV made.
Look, great minds think alike.
Payday, payday, payday. By the way, is that a standard Cobra bag move? I'm gonna incorporate that into my workouts. You know, you got to work the lower body too while you're at it.
Yeah, you get those hip thrusts in there. Get the glutes activated.
That's how I walk down the street. By the way, when I take a walk in the park in the morning, that's how I just walk like that. Just got to do those hip thrusts. Some ladies get
saying
it.
the same thing. Fuck you.
Yeah,
when,
yeah,
when
somebody-
you're feeling like that, it's kind of like, I guess, you guys, BDN's over. It's kind of like when you get your endorphins going and you get that natural high, right? Like you don't give a fuck, you don't care, you're just happy.
Well, see, if we want
Right.
to overanalyze things, Gonzalo, we can say he looks a little bit too happy. He's starting to overcompensate because he got whooped by Jaron Ennis in sparring. Or people are going to say he's not taking the fight seriously. You see, he's. And then that's the other thing. I saw some people in the chat were saying, don't know what was. Yeah, some comments were, oh man, that means Canelo's scared. He's taking the fight seriously. Well, what do you think? The guy's a pro. He said a bunch of times he doesn't take anybody, he doesn't overlook anybody. So I don't understand why some people are surprised.
He's a professional and he takes his job seriously. That means he's scared.
Exactly. I mean, I guess that's a hard concept for people to grasp, so to take your job seriously. But I guess it is what it is.
Yeah, if you don't, yeah, exactly. Yeah, if he's doing his job, he must be scared. I never do my job.
I do the bare minimum of my
What?
job.
I just go and I just collect the check.
Where am I?
He's not fighting anybody. He's fighting somebody that got longer arms than him. Who cares about the height? But okay, let's just say he's just maybe a little bit taller. The freaking Crawford had more knockouts at welterweight compared to Canelo. Like, I mean, he's got power, pound for pound. Crawford does, and you can't take that dude lightly. Double undisputed, considered to be 1 or 2 pound for pound. So, I mean, are you gonna take that guy lightly?
Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. And I mean, like Bucho keeps saying, Canelo seems to know what's at stake here. He can't lose to a smaller guy, supposedly smaller guy. By the way, we're gonna get into that as the fight comes along. He knows the people think that the media in Mexico, they love Canelo and they just suck his dick. You should see some of the stuff the media says. It's almost like the British media. You know how the British media treats their football players, aka soccer players. Similar thing there in Mexico. There's a lot of people that don't like Canelo. There's a lot of there's a crab bucket mentality in some parts of Mexico. They don't, ain't not for nothing. Canelo's white too, so a lot of these people look at him. Este güerito se pasa, güey. So a lot of Mexicans dislike the guy. Let's just face the fact. So he knows what's at stake. He can't lose to this guy. He's being underrated. He knows it. And on top of that, he doesn't want to lose. So, I mean, I do think he's taking this fight seriously, of course. That's the way it seems like to me. But it's interesting, though. We're talking about cultural issues here. A lot of people, and I saw this on some of those old LDBC channels, went to the comment section. A lot of people are calling Boots a sellout, an Uncle Tom. He's a sellout. He, a couple of bucks, and he goes out there. He ain't supposed to do that. And I'm thinking, what? He's not supposed to get sparring against a world class opponent. He's not supposed to do that because what? So, how come they didn't say this about any Afro-Anglo that Canelo sparred? The Ellis brothers. Remember, he used to spar with one of the Ellis brothers, that big dude, super middleweight. How come they never complained about that? In fact, I think they only
know about it. They know who the hell he was.
No, they knew about it, Sobers. Let me tell you why. Because they would always play that one clip where Canelo's, you can tell he's dead tired and he's on the ropes and he's getting touched up a little bit. And when I say touched up, he's laying on the ropes just playing defense. I don't know how many rounds they went. I don't know if he was his second sparring partner that day or in that session. They do the Shark Tank or whatever. And people were saying, man, he getting touched up. I forget for which fight that was, but there was, again, they looked at the little snip and they say, man, Canelo looking like shit. But they never said anything about Ellis back then. Or any of the other guys he sparred. All of a sudden, Ennis starts sparring with Canelo. All of a sudden, he's a sellout. What the fuck? So Mexicans can only spar Mexicans. Afro-Anglos can only spar Afro-Anglos. Eskimos can only spar Eskimos. I mean, is that I didn't know that those were the rules. I can't believe how racist some of these people. Yes.
That's fear. They're getting scared for Bud, bro. They're getting
He's
scared. They're
already.
like, oh shit, he's sparring with fucking Ennis. I'm like, oh man, because that's a good look. He's bigger and faster than Crawford. That's how I see it. So you know what I mean. That's might be a little bit harder fight if you actually fought someone like Ennis. You know what I'm saying? Or you know what I'm saying? Physically the attributes are, how do I say, they're in favor of Ennis compared to Crawford. So you know he'll be over. I think he'll be more than prepared. He's like over preparing in a way.
Interesting. Well, I gotta tell you, man, it is interesting sparring because, I mean, it's a fast guy who can crack too, coming up from different weights. So Canelo will get the speed from a lower weight, or allegedly a lower weight, as we're seeing now, but with some pop behind it. But it is interesting because Crawford is more of a long range guy. He likes to keep his opponents at the end of his shots. Not that he can't fight on the inside, but he prefers to, lately especially, he prefers to keep fighters on the end of his shots. Whereas Ennis, he really lacks the ability to control distance from Crawford. Crawford is much better at controlling the distance, whereas Ennis is more of an inside guy, mostly a mid-range guy. So it is a different style, but I mean it's good sparring nonetheless. That's for sure. But just to put that out there, that yes, they are different styles. Because I saw some people saying, "Man, they're perfect sparring because they're both switch hitters and they're both long, fast former welterweights." I'm thinking, yeah, but that's really where it ends. They're not the same guys, especially not at skill level. And I dare say at this point, Ennis might be a little bit more explosive. Obviously, he's in his mid to late 20s. Crawford's in his late 30s. So obviously, Ennis probably has a better engine when it comes to sustaining that explosiveness, whereas Crawford probably has to pace himself. So that's all I want to say about that. But Gonzalo, any thoughts on the matter? I'm looking for something here. Yeah.
I'm interested to see who's going to land the more counters when it comes to a game of inches, considering that Crawford has deceptively long arms. You know, you could make a comparison to who? Maybe like a Navarrete, where you think he's too far away, but then he's in distance to catch you at the tip of his glove. And being that Crawford usually, I've seen that he takes a step back and wings that the punch forward, and he's catching you. Boom. He throws his body back a little bit as you're stepping in. Boom, you're short, then he catches you with the long arm. So basically, when you're standing right across from him in your fighting stance, and you're gauging the distance, and you're assuming, oh man, if this guy's right there, I can clip him. But when he takes a little step back, then he wings that arm forward. He's still covering ground. And but the dynamic right there is that Canelo's got a good chin. He's gonna inch himself forward and might not be scared to risk, playing back and forth to see who he hits first. He might get the read on that, and then just start going to town. Also, but that'd be interesting to see.
It's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a very good fight, and I'm interested here too in the super chat here. Shout out to Chris Williams for his contribution with the super chat. Hold on a second. Shout out to Chris Williams, who says Crawford is either going to get knocked out or quit on the stool. He's not going to be able to take Canelo's power. It's insane to think otherwise. All right. Shout out to Chris Williams for his contribution with the super chat. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. What do you guys think about that comment?
I agree.
Really?
I agree 100% with Chris. I can see this fight ending a lot of ways, and I don't see it ending in a decision. I can see Bomac throwing in the towel. I can see him going down to body shots. I can see him going down like Amir Khan, like I'm predicting. But I can also see him quitting in the corner, where he's like, you know what, bro? We were here. We went 6 rounds. I'm about to get fucking destroyed. Just pull me out of here, Bomac. Or Bomac pulls him out and says, I'm just do you the favor. He's gonna kill you. You know what I'm saying? I can see that happening.
Speaking of killing, please keep Rampage's son, away from the ring. I don't want him in the audience. I don't want him jumping into the ring mid-fight and wailing on any of the participants.
Body slamming Canelo.
Exactly, man. But shout out to Chris. Yeah, I mean, okay, you've been predicting for a while, Sobers, that Canelo is going to put a hurt on Crawford. What do you think? Is Chris Williams? So you agree with Chris that because real quick, conventional wisdom is that Crawford has that dog and that he's not gonna go the way Charlo did or School did, fighting off the back foot, just content to go the distance. That he will actually go out on his shield. You think that he would actually quit on the stool? Interesting.
I can see it happening. I can see it
Mhm.
happening. I can see him doing it, but then they dress it up and make Bomac pull the plug. But
Interesting.
you might see Crawford look over and be like, end it, like Demetrius Andrade. They didn't expect him
Mm.
to do that, did they?
I mean, I wasn't too surprised though. But no, yeah, you're right. Maybe that's how they do it. Gonzalo, what do you think? You agree with Chris and Sobers?
That he quits in the corner. No, I think he's got too much pride. To be honest.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you,
So he's gonna go out there and get knocked out. He's gonna go out there and get knocked out, Gonzalo.
Why not? Yeah, go for it. I mean,
why not? Yeah, why not? Get knocked out, man.
line. There's too much on the line and all the shit that he's talked, and he's stepping up. You're not gonna do that in the biggest stage in the world. The world's gonna be watching.
But now, Gonzalo, hold on. You and I were two of the only people that I recall on the panel. Maybe there was another one I forget. And my apologies if I'm forgetting. But that predicted Charlo was gonna go the distance against Canelo, and indeed he did, because at that point we were quite familiar with Canelo's approach. Which, by the way, I have made a recent video about how Canelo's actually throwing at about the same, a little less or a little more, the same amount of punches he was throwing 5 years ago or 6 years ago when people were saying he was in his prime. So just people can watch it at their leisure. But yeah, for some reason, I see this fight going the distance. Again.
Oh, yeah. I saw something that caught my attention. Check. I saw Bomac training with Crawford, where Crawford was throwing one punch at a time too to the body pad, and he was using the what do you call those? The pool noodle sticks, whatever you call those.
Right, yeah,
swing
pools,
forward.
yeah.
No, that's exactly what it's called, the pool noodles.
Yeah, so he was using those, and every time that Crawford was throwing a single shot, the reason I say single shot because we know that Canelo also throws single shots, but he throws single shots consistently. So Bomac was telling Crawford, punch, and he was punching, boom, move, punch, move, punch, move. So I think that Crawford's also going to try to go punch for punch and get out of the way. So basically beat Canelo to the punch and avoid the counter. He's not going to stick around. He's not going to stay in there and throw 2-3 punches when one guy's trying to catch you with one. Because if you try to throw too many punches, you're going to be in position to get caught. So you got to throw one and move as well with the bigger guy. So you're going to be more nimble at the same time. So yeah.
You know what? Something tells me that's plan B. Something tells me Crawford is actually going to try to stand his ground, fight a little bit like he did against Cavaloskas. Maybe even try to back Canelo up. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I know it sounds ridiculous, but in their minds, they probably think, look, everyone's expecting us to run. Turkey Al-Sheikh already warned us not to run, even though I think Turkey wants Crawford to win. But maybe they're planning on, with all this added bulk, with all the extra supplements that Conte is giving them, I think they're planning on standing their ground. Hey, you know what they're thinking? No one's ever stood their ground against Canelo. They're all expecting us to run. We're going to take the fight out of him. We're going to take the wind out of his sails by going to the body. I think that's what they're really going to try to do. I don't know if it's going to work out. Yeah. You never know.
I was just thinking that if there's one weakness that I've noticed, that how you can't hurt Canelo is to the pit of the stomach. It's to the pit of the stomach, in my opinion.
That's what I think.
Okay. When did you see that? To give you that idea?
Against Caleb Plant, especially because he's shelling up on top. So he's keeping everything sturdy and tight, but he's moving a little at the waist, so he's got that relaxed. And yeah, he's got to conserve his breathing. He's got to stay what do you call it? Pace himself. So the way he paces himself is staying relaxed. So by breathing in slowly in and out, and you keeping everything else tight, but remaining a little bit loose around the torso, like I've said it before, loosey goosey, to be able to move slightly out of the way of a punch, that area is relaxed. So we know Canelo struggles with stamina. That's not a secret. So the way to zap his stamina is to punch him in the pit of the stomach. Take his air away. When you said take the air out of the sails, I thought, yeah, man, that's true.
I think, that Gonzalo's right, because the thing about Canelo, what he does is he tries to fight, he leans forward, and then he's got that head movement. So he starts lulling people, he hypnotizes them hey, throw upstairs. And the reason why it's hard to go downstairs against him, first of all, he's good at blocking shots to the sides. But the reason why it's hard to go to the body against him is because if you want to go to the body, then you got to step in. And he's leaning forward a little bit. So you got to step a little bit more in to try to get to that body. And if you step in Canelo's mid-range, he's going to counter you. But I think Crawford with those long-ass arms, and that's the other thing. I'm going to make a video about that, about how, because in the last video I mentioned Canelo's punch output. Crawford's punch output is about the same as Canelo's. If you look at his recent fight, especially against Madrimov, I think he threw 433 shots or something. That's actually below average to what Canelo throws, because Canelo's average is 450. So I got to check back the numbers, but it was about the same thing that Canelo throws. And people are going to say, yeah, but that's because of the feints from Madrimov, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? When he fought Sean Porter and that fight ended in the 10th, I believe, he'd thrown 388 shots. Against Postal, he threw 380-something as well. So the punch outputs are about the same. And I think that's why Crawford believes he can win this fight, because he goes, okay, I'm going to be fighting a heavier guy, but he's not going to be, he's going to be fighting at my pace. So I think that now they're thinking, what if we put it on Canelo? What if Canelo doesn't have a second gear? But before we continue on this, real quick, shout out to Chris Williams again for his contribution, another contribution via the super chat. Shout out to him. He says, Crawford is not going to be able to escape like he did against Madrimov. As soon as he felt Madrimov's shots, he got on his bike. Interesting. By the way, real quick, shout out to Shazar, Desperado, Sergeant, everybody in the chat. And shout out to Chris Williams again for his contribution with the super chat. What do you guys think about everything we're saying here, about the pace, the crazy plan that might not be so crazy? You never know. Yeah.
I think Crawford's legs, I think he's in over his head. He doesn't know it yet. You know, all the bulking is going to be to his detriment. You know, you got to be the problems I see Canelo have are with dudes that are usually his size, maybe a little bit smaller, maybe a little bit faster. You know, like Liam Smith gave Canelo a better fight than his brother, his big ass brother. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Canelo has an easier time if he's faster than you. He's gonna handle you. You know what I mean? And so I think Crawford's idea of saying I'm coming heavy, try to come in stronger, I'm gonna try to hurt, I'm gonna try to push him back. I mean, if Triple G couldn't do it, dude, you know what I mean? Just maybe that's not the way to beat him.
Well, again, I'm not saying
it's him.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's gonna work. I'm not saying it's gonna work.
No. I'm just saying I know, but that's what but I'm agreeing with what you're saying though. Everyone's saying this about Crawford. He's putting on the weight. They're showing the pictures, right? He looks heavier, you know. So he looks like that's part of his idea, and and that's just gonna hurt. That's just gonna hurt his It's gonna hurt his endurance, his stamina, and his foot speed. It's gonna hurt his legs, right? You're gonna supposedly one of the most important things that you're gonna have to use against Canelo is gonna be your legs, and I can see him fighting. I see him fighting like he did against Madrimov. You know, with limited movement, kind of standing in front of him and just trying to outbox him, you know, at mid range. And I don't think that's gonna work for him. But I don't think he'll be able to move around the ring like Skull did. Skull's in good shape to do that shit.
Yeah,
but his frame was built for it, right? He's not overly muscular on his frame. You know, I think it's gonna be hard, that extra weight for Crawford.
Yeah, because I mean, look, listen, what's his name? School is 33, and you can tell he's a naturally bigger guy than either Canelo or Crawford. So he's used to moving around with that Cuban style, moving around the ring, carrying that weight. So Crawford isn't. Now people are saying, well, yeah, but Crawford's been training a year for this. He's training with the weight vest and the ankle weights. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's gonna make it easier than if this fight would have been announced 5 months ago or whatever. But like you said, he's still 37 with added weight. We'll see what happens. My thing is this, to tie it in with what you said and what Chris said about the Madrimov fight. I'm going to try to synthesize those two things together. I think Crawford's going to try it. I think he's crazy enough to try it because he's got nothing to lose. If it doesn't work out, if he feels the power or even gets knocked down, I think he can go to plan B and say, okay, now I'm going to fight him the way I fought Postal. Whether that's going to work, like you said, with the 37-year-old legs, soon to be 38, and the added weight, I don't know. My thing is this. Looking at Crawford's last couple of fights, he was on his way to throwing over 400 shots against Spence if that fight would have gone the distance. But that was because Spence was just walking into the belly of the beast. He was walking into the mouth of the beast and he walked into a wood chipper against Crawford. That's the way I describe it. So, and you know, Canelo's not, I don't think he's going to walk in that stupid. He never does. But then again, you look at the Porter fight, he wasn't exactly throwing a lot, Crawford, and that was against a guy who was jumping at him. You would have expected him to have been throwing more shots, but I think what happened was he was moving more because he was trying to keep Porter turning and trying to run him into something, which he eventually did. Then again, against Madrimov, like Chris just said in his before to last super chat, once he felt the power, he receded into a bit of a shell. I'm not saying he stopped throwing, but and that's the other thing. Even when he tried to turn it up against Madrimov, he couldn't. You know how he would turn it up against Benavides, against Kell Brook, and against Sean Porter, and get the knockouts in those close fights. He couldn't do it against Madrimov. Was that because Madrimov was a better opponent? Was that because he was finally finding a guy who was around his size? I don't know. I just don't know if at 37 years old, with added weight, he's got enough to turn on those afterburners. So I think maybe he'll try to go at it hard in the early rounds, try to take the wind out of Canelo. Because, I mean, let's face the facts. Canelo does have subpar stamina. Like Gonzalo said, the reason why he's able to have enough energy throughout the fight is because he's so relaxed. But he is putting everything into single shots most of the time, and that tends to wear a guy out, especially since he never really had the greatest stamina to begin with.
He's
Shout out.
so
Yes.
going back to the belly. Just think of like a crocodile. You know how it's like all armor on the top. What's the weakest part? The belly. The stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody
again-
got their weakness. Everything was like armor. The fucking guard, the chin, the neck, except the fucking the torso because it's pliable. There's there's a sign of life there. If this was like a video game and you gotta kill, Sobers, the enemy right there, right, the big boss. I think that's his weak.
You're breaking it down in my terms or what? So I can understand.
You just needed to add a weed reference there, and it would have been complete.
Yeah. So you got to smoke the enemy, right?
Hey, by the way, I saw a video of this black dude. This fat black dude you see, it's a security camera footage. He's in an office or something. He's smoking ganja, and then he starts coughing. He gets up and he falls over. And I was reading the comments, and people were saying, "Oh, you're not supposed to cough while the smoke is still in the lungs." Is that what happened? He passed out because of the smoke in the lungs, or?
Oh, it sounds like he's just a fat ass and he might have gotten up too fast. That's what it sounds like to me. But
Yeah, well, you know what? Yeah.
I was gonna say if you smoke and if you cough with the smoke still in your lungs, I mean it's not gonna put you out. It's gonna hurt. You're gonna cough and it's gonna hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's not gonna lay you out like that. That's what I'm saying. That's more like a fat person getting up too fast. Probably got lightheaded. It was like, oh.
Well, I don't know what was worse: the fact that he passed out on camera, or the fact when he passed out, he fell face first, and his shorts were sagging, so you saw a whole lot of ass crack. And I just thought that was, pitiful. And I don't know who released that video. I wouldn't have released it if it was my coworker or something. Sergeant just sent me the video. How the fuck did he know what video it was?
Ain't gonna be no ass cracking around here.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He sent me specifically the part where you see ass crack. So I would have liked the whole video.
No.
I'm not gonna play it. I feel bad for the guy. I don't know what happened to the dude. But shout out to Sergeant for clipping that clip.
His heart exploded. BDA.
Yeah. But the weed was too good, man. I guess. Real quick, shout out to, before we continue with this conversation, people aren't tired of this Crawford-Canelo fight. I can't believe that I thought people were going to be bored about talking about this fight, and then it was going to pick up maybe 2 weeks before, but the hype hasn't died down, man. People are still electric about this.
Well, BDA.
Yes.
It's because Canelo has to set the boxing world on fire. Like you said, he broke the internet, dude. It was getting like tiresome. Everyone's kind of already getting stale. Or how long we can talk about Bud, getting some muscle weight or whatever. And then boom, this photo of Canelo training with Ennis comes out. They got their little videos. All these militant dudes are losing their minds. They're calling him a coon. He's code switching. He's breaking. He's off code. And then you got the ones like Timothy Bradley trying to like make conspiracies in their head. Actually, he's taking the money. He's really gonna go help Crawford, right? He's gonna go give him all the inside scoop. So Canelo's in trouble, right? So it sparked a lot of a big response, right, from the boxing world.
Absolutely,
because it was unexpected.
Absolutely.
So Canelo doesn't have to say anything.
He never does.
He just posted a photo.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point right there. This fight is all about the stakes. That's what's selling this fight. Real quick, shout out to Chris Williams for his contribution with the super chat. He says they sold us on this fight a few years ago. Nobody even wanted to see this because we all knew Crawford had no chance.
I did.
I didn't think Crawford had no chance, but he's right. The boxing world as a whole wasn't really terribly interested. In fact, contrary to Sobers, because Sobers been wanting to watch this fight since I think 2023 even. I myself was more prone to the Benavides fight, whatever happened there. But I did say, look, I mean, maybe Crawford can pull it off, but it's the School fight. If we're talking about what ended up selling this fight, you gotta give maybe School. Oh no, he doesn't deserve it. But if he hadn't fought like a bitch, I guess Canelo back in May, maybe you would have thrown him a couple of dollars if he would have made Canelo look bad either way, because he's the one that sold this fight. Because now, after that fight, that's when people started switching and saying, oh, yeah. They were going to switch anyway, a lot of them, I believe, like they did with Andre in the build-up to the Benavides fight. But because of the Canelo School fight, then more people started picking Crawford. Buchos and I are compiling a list of how many experts, or so-called experts, are picking Crawford. And, yeah, I mean, Roy Jones just recently said, Crawford has 6 ways to win. Canelo has 1. I'm going to pick, he said, the guy who's got 6 ways. I go, what are those? And of course, he didn't explain what those 6 ways were. We just got to take Roy Jones at his word, because he's Roy Jones.
They're like, so can you expand on that, Mr. Roy Jones? All right, I'll be right back, Mike. That's my car right there. I got to go.
He starts rapping. Yo, I must have forgot. But it's true, though. It's true that fight's really what set the people on fire and electrified them as it pertains to this fight and giving Crawford. Because again, people look at the odds. The odds are pretty much even in Canelo's favor, but just ever so slightly. And they might even switch on fight night, especially if some news comes out about whatever. I don't know. Real quick, shout out to Steph K, aka Official Scorecard Boxing, for his contribution via the Buy Me a Coffee. I really appreciate it, Official. He says, I think I heard Mario Lopez and Steve Kim saying Majimov hurt Crawford to the body. Then I watched the Evanesian fight, and Evanesian hurt him with a jab to the liver around the 2nd or 3rd round. Interesting. Well, first of all, it's kind of hard to land a jab to the liver. I don't think I've ever done that, but it is possible with the size of the glove. I do remember Mario Lopez saying on the podcast that he was there live for the Crawford-Majimov fight and that he saw Crawford's body language change a little bit as soon as he started eating those right hands. Lopez's interpretation of what he saw was that Crawford was getting hit with shots, power he'd never felt before, and that he felt the difference, and that's why he became a little bit more hesitant in those early rounds. And I agree. I do agree with that. And that's what I was going to say. Okay, yeah, maybe he can take the sales away from Canelo by going to the body. But the same goes for Crawford. Very few guys have actually gone to the body against him. And that's because if you want to go to the body against Crawford, you got to get into the wheelhouse of those counter shots. And not for nothing, but Crawford does have a very good, quick counterpunch trigger. He's got a quick trigger. He's a quick draw, like a cowboy. And a lot of these dudes that he's fighting, like Benavides, Kell Brook, Sean Porter was jumping in, but he'll jump in and smother you and throw like 4 or 5. And he doesn't really have a lot of power. There's not a lot of guys that have been equipped to go to the body against Crawford. So yeah, if Crawford goes to the body, I think Canelo has some good counters to the body too, especially against southpaws. Just watch the Saunders fight. So yeah, man, it goes both ways. That's for sure. So that's a good point there from Official Scorecard Boxing. Let's talk about the drama then. Because, okay, we talked about, just to remind people, Jaron Ennis sparring with Canelo Alvarez. Some people accused him of not staying on code. Apparently, people of different races can't spar together, according to them. And then we had this. Then we, by the way, fucking Chicago's 1991 house music, man, takes me back.
She gets hyped.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Tim Bradley had to weigh in. Tim Bradley's been very invested in this fight. He believes, he said it, he's the opposite of Sobers. Like Sobers, he's been wanting to see this fight. However, he's been in Crawford's corner all the way. But he's been acting a little bit unhinged lately. Food TV has provided us with video that Timothy Bradley does nowadays. He does his little vlogs where he gets in his car starts driving around. There's some open containers of I don't know what in the car. It looks like it doesn't smell good in that car. Like it should be ventilated a little bit more. And then he starts ranting. And he doesn't talk like the way he talks on ESPN, excuse me, and even on Pro Box is not the way he's talking in the car. When he gets into that car and gets whatever he has, he's getting into that system of his. He starts talking like Bill Cosby, and it's unsettling. It almost even seems like as if he's making fun of his own race the way he's talking. So check out what he had to say as soon as he heard the news of Ennis and Canelo sparring.
Yo, Tim Desert Storm Bradley back with some more Car Chronicles. Yep, I just heard the news. Man. A lot of upset people, man. Everybody's saying that, man, Boots went against Cold and, everybody going crazy, man. I'm looking at the comments, man, on some of these videos. My gosh, I lost all respect for Boots and all of this stuff, man. Wait up. Y'all got to think about this.
So he's not even deriding people for making it racial. He's not even saying, why are you guys making it? No. Check out what he has to say. That's not what he's upset over or bemused over.
Boots infiltrated the camp. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, Boots, we need a report. That's what we need, bruh. Hey, Canelo, them done got, they done got jived. Yes, they did. Boots, we need the report.
I mean, he's
got jived.
Why is he like? First of all, forget about what he's saying. The way he said, why is he all of a sudden? Why does he turn into a 19th century guy? I don't get it. He looks like he's from the 19th century. Like he doesn't know what. I'm surprised he knows what a car is. Is he making fun of his own race? That's what I'm curious about.
You think he's putting on a show?
I mean, come on. I mean, listen to this again. Listen to how he's speaking like a semi-normal person in the beginning, and then look at.
No, yeah, like he's exaggerating. He's exaggerating everything. His mouth's open all extra wide. He's even cracking his lips to the side when he's talking.
Bucking
I know
eyes.
what you're talking about. He's putting on a little show, and it's real rich coming from this dude, right? Because this is the guy who, when Crawford was suing Top Rank for racism, he was a person who said, no, when in my experience at Top Rank, I never had anyone say anything to me about my race, or I never felt any kind of treatment that was bad because I was black. I was always treated like a normal human being there. So, you know what I mean? Like, so you turn your back on Crawford in that situation, right? You was happy to defend the man right there, Bob Arum. But now, like, all of a sudden that you got your little YouTube channel and shit, you got this black thing going on, and we act like we ain't supposed to know that you're married to this fat Mexican torta and you're raising some fucking dude named fucking Juan's kids. You know what I
mean? Yeah, that's a thing though. Those aren't his kids. I mean, he's got a kid with her, but I think she also had 2 kids from another marriage. Maybe that's why he's trying to play up this angle now. It's like, hey guys, I'm still with it. Forget whose kids I'm raising. I'm there, man. I'm in the front lines. Like what?
Canelo, them done got, they done got jived. Yes, they did.
Oh, come on. He had to use the word jive. He had to use the word.
Bill Cosby voice.
That's what we said in the last episode when we were watching him spaz out in the car with his dog.
Yes, they did. Boots, we need the report ASAP, big dog. Absolutely. We need to.
He's going to get his ass pulled over. He keeps doing this.
Know what you was doing against him, big dog. Absolutely. See, y'all be thinking about things the wrong damn way. This is a good thing. Yeah. No doubt about it.
Just lie to yourself. Lie to yourself.
All right, but I'm confused, though. I'm confused. First of all, so because Ennis...
Did he always have that gap in his teeth, BDA? Or is this like a thing? Him, Crawford, and Stevenson? Come on, bro. They all got the same gap. It must be like some kind of gang thing.
Sugar Ray Leonard. I
think
all right. What?
Because he's with Bernardo Osuna, then he's on in his job like commentating. He keeps it like where he's not being racist or anything. But when he's just doing his thing, yeah, the real Bradley comes out. Especially like Sober said, because he got the problems with his fat Mexican wife.
Okay, why do you guys? Everybody before just say Mexican wife. You don't gotta always gotta say fat Mexican.
We'll just
wife.
call her torta. We're just gonna call her.
Come on. She didn't do anything. At least not as far as I know. By the way, official scorecard boxing in the chat says, to your point, BDA, I listened to the last episode without watching the screen, listening to you playing Bradley's videos. At first, I didn't know it was him. I was like, when are they gonna play Bradley's video? Yeah, because he sounds very different. Oh, and
yeah.
What?
I was going to throw in there too, add on a little CTE. He's got a little CTE. You can tell he's getting older.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, Ron.
The effects of that Ruslan fight.
Ron in the chat says, this channel, blacks always bring up race. Also this channel, black people this, black people that. Okay, so we can't talk about black people, apparently. We can't talk. I like these people that want to produce the show from the sidelines. Hey, don't talk about black people. Are you upset about what we're talking about? Because if you are, we're not going to stop just because you pointed out that. I mean, we're going to keep talking.
They're the black folks' business.
Did we make it racial, by the way? Ennis, Sparring, Canelo, did we bring up the whole, he's a sellout, he's a this, he's an Uncle Tom, he's a house N-word? No. We were addressing the fact.
I mean, we didn't call him that, but there are people who are saying that about him, right? That is a topic of conversation.
There's people that are saying bad things about this. Go tell them, Ron. Go show them. Don't tell us. Anyway, I wanted to ask you this, though. Do you think Bradley is being facetious? Does he have some inside information that we don't know about? Does he know the Ennises? Are the Ennises indeed relaying information from what they've learned and gleaned from the Canelo camp?
I think he's just being silly, right? He's probably, because it sounds like some weird little conspiracy. You know, I don't know that. I never heard anything about Crawford and Ennis being any kind of, you know, friendly with each other. You know, so you know he's just doing all this shit just to get some attention, just to like shock jock kind of thing. Like some people be like, oh, you know what? He talking about some real shit. You know, some guys, he trying to get some LDBC attention, I guess.
You know
there's
what?
Some people who will bite on that.
Sobers, I think you might be onto something, because I don't know. I don't know. By the way, I don't know if people heard, but Top Rank, they do have a deal now with Stars, the Stars network, which is that premium cable?
Terrible. It's like a low end cable.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't even know what shows they show. I know they have their own original programming. I don't know. Didn't they have the Americans on there, or was that AMC? I forget.
Probably AMC. AMC is probably better.
Yeah.
You know what Stars that did have that was good? I think it was the Ash versus Evil Dead. They made a TV show about the Evil Dead series, and that was actually really good.
Oh, and they had Spartacus too, right? I like that show for some reason.
I think that was HBO. You like those shirtless dudes?
Not
in their little skirts, BDA fighting with their sword fighting.
No to all of that. But okay, so they got a deal, but they're also going to be. I think they're also going to be holding fights on other networks. I think that's what Rick Glacier said. But to your point, Sobers, I don't know if Tim Bradley is going to be there. So I don't know if now Tim Bradley is moving on to ProBox and his own YouTube channel exclusively, because this is what Official Scorecard said. He said, Mr. BDA, I think there are two possible angles. Either Bradley is acting like an LWC militant to get views, or he was always like that but pretending to be normal. I know I've talked to people who said that the latter, that yeah, Bradley was always a secret LDBC guy. But maybe it's both. Maybe he wants to play up that angle a little bit more now to get more views. And it just so happens that he always had those views. I don't know. Could be.
He's practicing that fake Coach Malachi left. They're gonna be co-hosts real soon, you know?
Ah, come on. Where are you going after Malachi?
See, y'all
that's the same laugh.
About things the wrong damn way. This is a good thing. Yeah. No doubt about it. Yeah.
He sounds like Fat Albert. He sounds like Fat Albert. And he's starting to look like him too on top of that.
No doubt about it. I don't care how much you paying.
I'm surprised he didn't crank his neck with that one, you know?
He's gonna pull a muscle.
Paying you Boots.
He's like pulling every little stereotypical noise he can think of, bro.
Yeah,
like out
this
his ass.
is-
Like what's going on here?
It sounds like he's making. I don't know, man. Like I said in the last episode, I think the community has to come together and straighten this guy out because what he's doing here, it ain't right.
We need a report. That's what we want. Give us a report. Of course, on the undie for sure. But anyways, that's the way I
On the
feel,
undie.
people. Absolutely. He's
So it looks like he stained his undies with all that movement and all that screaming. Now, I will say this though. Why is he so happy about that? It seems like he really wants to believe that his theory is correct. Why would Crawford, who according to Bradley has all the advantages coming into this fight, or most of them, the footwork, the IQ, he can weigh 6 ways, different ways, and twice on Sunday. Why would Crawford need inside information to beat Canelo?
That's a good question, right? But yeah, I mean, he's not gonna get it. But like, it's just mental gymnastics. Jumping to little loops in their head. Like this is actually a good thing because I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how that's good for Crawford. Who's he? The only thing I've heard about Crawford sparring for this camp was that he was sparring Lester Martinez, another 160 super middleweight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I heard he dropped him. That's the only rumor I heard come out of Crawford's camp. So,
Well, they might be
really?
putting out.
Crawford dropped Lester Martinez?
no, I heard the other way around that Lester dropped him.
Well, you know
Okay.
what? Everybody wants to talk about how Canelo looked beat up. Apparently, they're looking for every little scratch on Canelo's face, any little scratch on Canelo's face, to see if he got beat up by Ennis. Speaking to your point there, yeah, apparently Crawford sparring Lester Martinez, and Boxing Magic on Twitter posted this picture. I don't know when it's from. Again, it's difficult to ascertain the dates of these pictures. Could have been from a year ago. I don't know. But this is Crawford sparring, and he looks a little bit haggard in there.
Don't even look like Crawford. What the hell?
Did he get disfigured in the sparring session? Maybe because again, people keep bringing up sparring pictures, and this guy looks beat up, and that guy looks like he had the better of the other guy. What about Crawford here? How does he look? He looks tired, man.
He beat his ass into somebody else. Like that don't look like him.
Yeah, he turned him into Martin Lawrence or something. Look at him. He sounds, but yeah, those Venom gloves. I don't like the looks of those. But yeah, Crawford doing his sparring. I don't even know if that's Lester Martinez.
Those
or
Venom
not.
gloves look smaller, right?
I know.
Yeah, look at that big smile. Look how satisfied Lester Martinez looks with himself in that photo, BDA.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Crawford's like, what the hell just
Okay,
happened?
so it looked like he knocked that fucking head guard loose on his head.
I mean, are those bags under Crawford's eyes like he hasn't slept, or is that swelling? Where is that from?
I think he looked puffy eyed, bro.
Huh.
This is what he
man.
actually did. Yeah,
Maybe
Lester Martinez looks very satisfied with himself in that photo for some reason.
Hey, maybe that's why Bradley feels now that Crawford needs inside information to beat Canelo.
It's a funny ass picture.
I'm gonna send it to you just so you can keep it. But all right, so Timothy Bradley now very happy about the inside information. And by the way, he was calling Devin Haney. He was casting aspersions on Haney's character after when he said he was gonna sue Ryan Garcia or something. He's like, "Man, that fucked up. You ain't." Like he was saying, sort of saying sideways or indirectly that Haney wasn't a real man for doing that. But this whole concept of having spies in the camp, like what Tank Davis did to Ryan Garcia, which, by the way, people are now finally starting to see what we told them about Tank Davis, that he's not really, like they say in the streets, about that life. Because when he fought Ryan Garcia, who's only an Instagram model, apparently, that's what people keep saying about Ryan Garcia. He's just an Instagram model. He needed spies in the camp. He needed a rehydration clause, a catch weight. People said, oh, well, that, I heard some people say, well, that's, everybody does that. Sugar Ray Leonard, in his autobiography, justified it the same way because he had spies in Duran's camp watching him. Or maybe not necessarily in the camp, but they were watching Duran. And Leonard justified in his book, his autobiography, by saying, well, everyone does it. It's part of the game. And I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. So you knew Duran was a fat ass partying, and you decided to fight him as fast as possible so he wouldn't be in the best shape possible. And I'm thinking, look, yeah, is it Leonard's fault that Duran was a fat ass in between fights, those fights? No. But what I'm saying is, why are you bragging about beating a guy if you didn't fight him at his best? In other words, the Duran that outworked and outfought Leonard in 1980 or 79, wherever that fight took place, wasn't the same guy that you beat when you made him quit, the No Mas. So, I mean, how much can you really celebrate? In your heart of hearts, did you really beat the best version of Duran possible? Did you really get your get back? Or did you need a special advantage? Oh, we're watching Duran. Oh, he's got a busted hand. Oh, he's fat. He's not training properly, blah, blah, blah. He's got a short turnover between fights. And it's the same thing here. If Crawford really is about that life and, he's got all these advantages against Canelo, the speed, the skill, the dexterity, the IQ, why does he need to be spying on Canelo? That's the thing I don't get. Hopefully somebody can clarify that for us. But we're not done with Tim Bradley. No, sorry, Bob. He posted another video. Let me see real quick here. Where was it? All right. I think this is it. Hold on. Yeah, because he had more to say about this fight. And again, he's trying to... He didn't even address the racial thing. Like, hey, why are you guys making this racial? No, instead he had to say, y'all seeing it the wrong way. Y'all don't get it. Hold on, that's not it. Hold on. All right, this is it. That's not it. Fuck, hold on. Fuck it. I'm going to put the... Hold on. My apologies about this. It's early in the morning. What do you want from me? Here we go. This has to be it. This has to be it. If it's not, we're ending the show. I got to go. I'll turn it over to Gonzalo and Source. Give me... Okay, so now this is Tim Bradley broadcasting from a parking lot. Still the same. Look at those eyes, man. Look at those eyes.
Crazy.
He's really laying it thick, man. Let me tell you.
Look, BDA. He's practicing for the thumbnails. Y'all know what thumbnails I'm talking about. Y'all been seeing them.
Yeah, I think you might have a point there, man. You might have a bit of a point there. Hold on a second. Yeah, look at that, man. Come on.
Man, Tim Desert Storm Bradley, man, I'm in parking lots. Yeah, I'm in parking lots. Man, see, I be making me furious.
Yeah, we out
sometimes.
here, man.
We're in parking lots. Sounds like a former caller that's angry with us. So you used to spend a lot of time in parking lots. A lot of time. And doing other stuff in those parking lots.
Man, Tim Desert Storm Bradley, man, I'm in parking lots. Yeah, I'm in parking lots. Man, see, I be making me furious sometimes. Some
Yeah,
of
I'm a
y'all
lot
comments,
lizard.
man.
What up?
Imagine he, I'm in parking lots. He's walking. I'm in parking lots, and then all of a sudden you see accidentally he pants down and he's buckling, he's zipping his pants up. It's like, what the fuck? Where did he just come from? Like, was he pissing in the corner of the, or he was doing something more nefarious?
You see,
I don't know.
what's his name? What was that dude's name? Booty Juice, like running off camera behind him.
Wiping his mouth. Yeah, man.
Yeah, wiping his mouth and walking the other direction.
Putting that breath spray. What are they? That breath mint spray. He has to get ready for the next client.
This is war. Terrence Crawford versus Canelo. This is war. In war, we need intelligence. We need inside information. That's what we need.
A race war?
Yeah, what's he talking about? Is he talking about a race war? Why use the word war?
This fight has a lot of meaning because it would be Canelo losing against a fighter that he lost when he was green, like Floyd Mayweather. But now that Canelo's probably at the tail end of his prime, I'm not saying he's in his prime. Then you got a Crawford that is older, but still and then smaller, pound for pound. If you beat Canelo, that means you prove your dominance over the race, according to some people.
You know what? People are going to find it hard. Some people are going to find it hard to believe because they really think. I mean, that's the story about this channel. Like, they're against Afro Anglos. I'm not looking at this fight from a racial perspective. 20 years I was on message boards. Race rarely came up when we were talking boxing. It's only now with social media and encountering certain people. I mean, again, which Mexican made this fight racial? Which white guy made this fight racial? As soon as Ennis starts sparring with Canelo, he ain't staying on code. he ain't keeping, he ain't walking correct. It's like, what? So he can't. So people can't spar each other. They have to they can only spar people from their own race. That is that's ridiculous. I can't even fathom how people think like that way or live that way.
Intelligence. We need inside information. That's what we need. You don't remember when Mayweather? When
Not
Mayweather
all
getting
money
ready
is
to
good money, BDA.
Yeah, I know, man.
fight against Manny Pacquiao? Who'd he hire? He hired Alex
Who he
Ariza.
hire? What the fuck?
You don't remember? You don't remember the informant that gave Mayweather? Yeah, Mayweather some information about Canelo years ago? Man.
So what we're getting at is some of these fighters need all these advantages: weight clauses, rehydration clauses, inside information. It's not a 23-year-old Canelo. It's not enough with the rehydration clause and the catch weight. I don't know if there was a rehydration clause, but the catch weight, there was a catch weight, and now you got inside information too. It's like
there was a rehydration clause.
There was okay. I mean, that's bizarre. And by the way, I know people are gonna say, well, Canelo too with the catch weight. When he fought Cotto, I think there was a catch weight, right? That's because Cotto wanted it, if I remember correctly. If I'm wrong, tell me. Kovalev, Buddy McGirt said that there was no rehydration clause or a catch weight. I don't think there was a catch weight. Again, if I'm wrong, tell me. But I know Buddy McGirt talked about, there was a rumor about the rehydration clause. Buddy McGirt denied that. Same thing with Callum Smith. So the only ones I remember Canelo weight when he used to fight at 154, and then he would be like, no, let's fight at 156, It's like, come on, why not just fight at middleweight already? But yeah, I remember those. But afterwards, I don't remember any significant fight where there was, the Daniel Jacobs fight? And didn't he blow that rehydration clause, or was that for the Golovkin fight?
Yeah, Daniel Jacobs came in heavy on purpose. He paid money. Yeah, he blew that shit. He didn't care.
My memory is a little iffy.
He did it against Triple G too.
Uh-huh. Interesting. Let me tell you.
So there's a pattern here, huh? Of cheating.
Well, I mean, it ain't cheating. It ain't against the rules. Yeah, you're right. It's not against the rules, but I'm just curious why they need all these extra
money.
I'm just curious why they need all these. Oh, yeah, that's true. I'm just curious why they need all these extra advantages. Why would Crawford need an advantage? I thought he was this virtuoso that's going to school Canelo. Interesting.
Aquaman.
It's part of the strategy. You want all the information you can get. I don't want to hear nothing about what anybody got to say. Talking about, hey, Tim, you don't know what you're talking about. Man, get that information. It's information. Get that information.
Was he always a little worried
and this
about
dude right here, BDA? Do I still have the video? I might still have it.
Was
this
he
dude
always
would talk about?
Sorry. What?
Okay.
No, sorry. I think there's a delay.
I was gonna say that this is coming from a guy, right? I believe, like you can say you could be silly, right? But I also do believe him because I remember. I don't know if I still have the clips. I'll have to check. But this guy would admit to not showering like weeks before his fight.
Yeah.
Just to have some kind of little advantage because he wants to stink like shit in the clinch. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how that's gonna help you win the fight, but that's the kind of things he would do.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's by any means necessary. That's the way some people see it. But do you think Bradley's a little bit worried now? Because why is he so happy that Crawford might have some inside information? Shouldn't he have, if he was this confident that Crawford was going to beat Canelo, shouldn't he have been happy from the get-go? Why is he so, or is he putting on an act? Like, what's going on here? Still trying to figure this out. Anyway, by the way,
I was gonna say, I'm sure he's worried for Crawford. I mean, I know he's worried for Crawford. I mean, if he's coming from that angle, this racial angle, then yeah, you're in hot water, bro, because this dude's about to get cooked. You know what I mean? We're about to have Crawford and Burrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wonder how he's gonna spin it after giving Canelo wins. What's he gonna say now?
That's what I'm thinking.
Because he was wrong. Because look, Gonzalo, he was wrong about Ryan and Devin, right? And he's gonna be wrong about this too.
Yeah.
How many times are you gonna be running your mouth for months and shit like an idiot? And just be wrong.
That, Timothy Bradley knows his boxing, especially since he's not a big puncher. He looks at every other way possible that you can win. He's got good boxing IQ. But you can always look at something if you're favoring somebody and try to convince yourself how that person can win. I think he's doing some of that because I don't think genuinely he believes that Crawford is all that much more skilled than Canelo, especially defensively.
I think he
And
really believes that,
Canelo's
Gonzalo. I
dangerous.
mean, I remember I posted a video there in the documentary we made about this fight. As it pertains to Crawford Madrimov, Bradley said that Crawford, and I quote, whooped Madrimov. So I think he's seeing things that the rest of people aren't. Maybe he's catching on to things we're not seeing, us mere mortals, us civilians. But he really said that. He also said that Prograis was going to beat Haney. Now, I think Rerbreed told me, no, at the last second, he changed his mind. I don't know if that's true. I haven't verified that. But he was definitely overrating Devin Haney. That's why he was so shocked when Garcia beat him. And some people are going to say, no, he didn't beat him, no contest, whatever. I mean, I saw Devin Haney getting dropped and shitting his pants in the fight. So let's keep watching this. Let's keep watching this. We're almost done here.
Crawford camp and anybody else involved with Crawford's team. Yeah,
He's spitting now. That's how unhinged he's becoming.
for camp.
He's making a full transition from former fighter to homeless guy. Ranting in the parking lots, screaming, open containers in his car.
Turning into what's the name, Rocky Lockridge?
Oh, come on. leave Rocky alone, man. Come on.
Talking about, man, get that information. It's information. Get that information somehow. Crawford camp and anybody else involved with Crawford's team. Yeah,
Look at it. He starts spitting. Ugh.
yeah, because that's intel that you can use to help you get in that fight. That's not a sign of weakness, in my opinion.
How isn't it a sign of weakness? If you really are the better guy, you're the superior fighter. Now you need inside information. Of course, that's weakness. You're not confident that you can beat these guys on the up and up. Everybody does it. No, not everybody does it. Show me proof that everybody does this.
That's a sign of
Is Canelo
wisdom.
doing it?
Yeah. Show me proof that
Duran
Canelo's doing
didn't.
that.
Chavez, Leonard did it
Him and
against
Lester Martinez are clicking up behind the scenes, right?
Leonard did it against Duran, but Duran didn't do it against Leonard. So what does that say?
yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Shout out to Chief.
Real
Thank you, sir.
Wisdom. Shoot, got me stuttering again.
But yeah, we got you stuttering, spitting, acting like a homeless guy. I got to tell you, this is...
Is he missing a tooth?
No, but he does have a gap that Sober's pointed out. We're not done yet, though, with this whole... again, Chief, I don't know if you missed the news. I'm just going to catch you up real quick. We got the upcoming Crawford-Canelo mega fight. And yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, somebody posted a picture of Canelo and Jaron Ennis sparring.
Yeah.
And this caused a firestorm because, of course, the usual suspects had to make it racial. They just had to. So some people started deriding and criticizing Ennis for not staying on code. In other words, what they're saying is that people from different races shouldn't spar together. That's what they're saying. Like, in other words, if one guy is sparring let's say, Puerto Rican, no Puerto Ricans should spar with a non-Puerto Rican fighter. That's their logic, apparently. So we just saw Timothy Bradley say then that he didn't even address any of that. He actually derided people not for making it racial, but for not seeing the angle, which according to him is that Ennis is actually working for Crawford, that he's going to give him the inside information that he gleaned from those sparring sessions and relay it over to Crawford. So didn't even want to address the race thing there. Then we got this video.
Well, I applaud him for not addressing. I'm sorry, you're in.
Go ahead.
Well, I applaud him for not going down the racial path, but I mean, does anybody think about the fact that maybe that Bud and Boots aren't friends due to the fact that Boots feels like he was dodged and ducked by Crawford? So why wouldn't he want to spar with his opponent? Since, hey, you screwed me over by not giving me a shot when I was your mandatory. I'm going to go spar with your opponent. And not to mention, sparring partners are usually paid regardless of if they're champion or not.
Mm-hmm.
So the amount of money coming in here is probably not going to be bigger than Boots' biggest payday, but it's not going to be money he can sneeze at since he only fights once a year anyway. So, I mean, unless he's doing it out of the goodness of his own heart, which I doubt, no disrespect to him, I have a strange feeling he's being paid. Canelo's paying him a pretty penny because he's a switch hitter just like Crawford. So now he's fighting a guy that's athletic enough to stand in either stance, and Canelo's making the pot sweet enough for him to want to do it. And I'm positive that Boots still feels like he was spited by Bud by not giving him a shot that he thought he deserved. So where is all this other stuff coming from? Why is no one asking these other questions?
Can I add
Because
something?
they're painfully obvious. So,
Can I add something, Chief? And also, like Crawford, correction, Jesus. Jerron Ennis, he gains experience by training with Canelo, and only by the mere fact of taking that picture right there, it boosts Ennis' profile as well.
Yep. Two very good points.
Not everybody agrees with you. Again, there's a lot of people out there that are deriding Jerron Ennis for helping a guy from a different race out. Apparently, that's not permissible. That's forbidden. But then Bernie the boxer, who is one of Crawford's friends and trainers, I believe, had some mean words, choice words for Jerron Ennis for, again, not staying on code. By the way, I don't know why Bernie the boxer is dressed like El Chavo del Ocho. I don't know if he's making fun of Mexicans. Again, now they got this racial thing in my mind now. I can't stop seeing everything racial like they do now. But see, listen to what he has to say about Ennis. Again, this guy works for Crawford, right?
Like I say, boy, everybody got a price, man. And I guess Boots, he had his price. I don't know what he getting, but he sold out. That's all I can say. He sold out. Now, I'm just going to state the fact. He sold out. That's
why did he? And by the way, I don't think he ever explains why. It's almost as if we're just supposed to take his word for it and understand what he's talking about. Some of us don't understand what the fuck you're talking about. How did he sell out? Is he friends with Crawford? Is he family? He's not supposed to be working with Canelo. I don't get it. How did he sell out?
Right. But he's verifying the fact, according to my theory, and his is only a theory also, because without a cash check or a bank statement, we don't know if Boots is really getting paid to spar, but we're presuming he is because sparring partners are usually paid. So he's saying he's selling out. Well, literally, yeah, he's getting paid for a service. But, I mean, this guy's verifying the fact that, according to him and his sources, Boots is getting money for this.
Oh yeah, that's
isn't
true,
it all about making that money? Isn't it all about making that money?
Or
if it's all about making that money, then where's the problem?
Or he's assuming though. He's assuming that he's getting paid beaucoup money for this.
He had his price. I don't know what he getting, but
Is that a nervous laughter? Is that nervous laughter there, or are these guys getting a little bit nervous? I wouldn't be nervous. Who cares who's he sparring? If you're really about that, you shouldn't be worried. So I don't know.
He sold out. That's all I can say. He
sold
out. Now, I don't.
What'd you say?
I just say they're shitting bricks.
Well, look at his. I mean, again, I don't want to turn into one of those channels where they analyze body language, and you can see here this guy is indeed the serial killer. But look at how he's laughing nervously. He's laughing nervously, rubbing his hands, and then look at how he arranges his hat.
And I don't know how he sold out because they were gonna be. I don't know how he sold out because they were gonna be like future opponents. They were potential rivals, and even I think one of the two guys called each other out live, and the other guy responded. I think it was Crawford. Told him, "Nah, you're too green" or something. But they were gonna fight Crawford and Ennis, so I don't know how he sold out.
I mean, I'm perplexed, Gonzalo, just like you are.
But he sold out. That's all I can say. He sold out. Now, I'm just going to state the fact. He sold out.
That's a fact that he sold out? That's a fact. All right. Thank you. He didn't offer any proof of how he sold out, but I guess we just got to take his word for it while he's arranging his hat.
That's it. He sold out. That's it. You know what I mean? And like I say, I don't knock Canelo, but come on. You could say graciously, nah, I'm out of training, or I'm doing this, or you ain't got to tell him hell no. Just tell him in a gracious way.
Okay. Wait, is he saying that Canelo should have refused Ennis' services? Is that what he's saying? Let me rewind this.
He's saying that Ennis should have refused whatever Canelo offered him to spar.
Is that what he said? Hold on, let's see.
Let's say you could tell.
That's what I'm interpreting. That's the way I'm interpreting it.
Yeah, let me rewind this. Let me rewind this and see. Hold on, Gonzalo. Let me rewind this because I want to really make sure we're getting it. Because this guy, maybe he's not speaking properly. I don't know.
He sold out. That's it. You know what I mean? And like I say, I don't knock Canelo, but come on. You could say graciously, nah, I'm out of training, or I'm doing this, or I'm.
Yeah, I think he's referring to Ennis. About how he could, because he said he's out of training. He said that you could have said I'm out of training. meaning Ennis, because we already know Canelo's preparing for a
It's
fight.
us versus them. That's what he's saying. And you're choosing them.
Yeah, this sounds like a little kid who, his mother hugged the other sibling, a little too longer, and now he's jealous or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you ain't got to tell him hell no. Just tell him in a gracious way. Tell him in a gracious way. Appreciate the offer, but I ain't no sparring partner. Anything. But nah, here you go. Smiling, giggling.
Kind of like this guy keeps doing all the time, that fake smiling and nervous laughter.
Taking
If I'm
pictures.
Canelo,
Did you-
Canelo and I'm gonna fight a black guy, American style,
Afro-Anglo.
slick, Afro-Anglo, similar to Crawford in some ways, would I not want to face someone similar? I don't get
Yep.
it.
No. According to the logic here, Gonzalo. According to the logic from these guys, you can't spar guys from other races. He should have gotten an Afro Spaniard, like a Cuban or a Venezuelan or a Colombian.
Yeah.
You can't spar Afro Anglos.
So-
You can't. According to this guy.
I find a sparring partner that doesn't emulate the style that I want. That therefore I'm ill prepared and I lose. Is that the logic here? That'd
Apparently,
be stupid on Canelo's part. You want
I
to
mean-
mimic the style or something similar.
the Desperado in the chat says they're acting like Bud and Boots are old friends. I mean, but what amazes me is the fact that. But shout out to Official Scorecard Boxing. I just saw your clip. But what amazes me is that how these guys just speak so casual about this, as if we're all supposed to be on the same page as them, as if we're all supposed to be looking at the world through the same race-colored glasses that they do. It's like, oh, right, I'm telling you, some people the ones that scream, and I don't know if this guy does it, but I've seen other people, the ones that scream racism the most, actually end up being the most racist themselves. That's why I make fun of every race, because they're all jokes at the end of the day. We're making fun of the stereotype, because normal people and intelligent people recognize that the reason why it's fun is because, of course, not all stereotypes are true. And some stereotypes are there for a reason, but at the same time, it's illogical to believe that stereotypes apply to everybody. And that's part of the joke when you make this. I mean, listen, when I hang out with people here in Canada, do people think I'm just hanging out with Mexicans over here? It's a multi-ethnic melting pot here. I grew up with a whole bunch of people here. And this is what we do. We make fun of, when we're busting balls, we bust balls over race, ethnicity, culture. That's why if you're not really racist, you can do this type of stuff. But if you're really racist, it's like, you know what it is? It's like sexual predators that you see in the media. These famous celebrities that they're always pro-feminist and they don't like to make dirty jokes. Oh, no. They always try to keep up appearances. Meanwhile, they're the most perverted people out there. That's why I put out all my perversions out there. I tell you I'm a pervert. Yeah, because deep down inside, I'm really not. But these people that they got something to hide. Same thing with the people that complain about racism the most. Don't make jokes about race. Don't do this, don't do that. Meanwhile, you look at how they treat other people around them. Racist. That's my experience with some of these people. So again, I'm perplexed by this. Let's just finish watching this video. I'm really having it with this guy this morning.
Thing. But nah, here you go. Smiling, giggling, taking pictures. All right. So listen, we gonna whoop two asses that night. Canelo's and his.
Speaking of fake smiles and all that, by the way, I don't understand the logic. So by beating Canelo, you're beating Boots Ennis too? Because now, see, this is how they look at it. Now they really took offense to this affront. That they really think now Ennis and Canelo are sort of best buddies or something. They really think that by beating Canelo, Ennis is going to be like, oh shit, Crawford beat Canelo? Fuck. My heart's broken now. He beat me. That's how seriously these people take this.
Canelo's and his.
Look at that fake smile. And then he's that nervous guy. He almost threw up because he's so nervous. He almost
Canelo's and his.
Look at that. He's having acid
He
reflux.
thinks he's being funny.
What's that?
He's laughing at himself because he thinks he just told a good joke, and it wasn't. And the funny thing is, if he was using that as a punchline in a comedy club, he would have done that. He would have been the only one laughing. It would have been very awkward silence. Because the only thing funny about it is the fact we're making fun of him, not because what he said was actually humorous.
I mean, that's there's some truth to that. It's just I'm just still in awe here and in shock rather, not in awe, in shock, perplexed miffed at how this dude. They really take this shit seriously. Meanwhile, Bradley. They don't have anything against Bradley talking about getting inside information. That's cool. That's cool. Getting inside information, spying on people during training camp and all that. But sparring with somebody, no, that's it's sparring with somebody from who's a similar race or the same race as the opponent. That's taking it too far, man. You can't do that. Spying, catch weights, all that shit. By the way, I'm not saying Crawford's done the catch weight thing, but I'm saying spying inside information. He has no qualms about what Bradley said about that. But God forbid somebody from the same race as your opponent spars with Canelo. That's too far. That you're not keeping it a buck. You're gonna get your ass whooped that night too.
So like you flip the table. Lester Martinez, well, he's not Mexican, but he kind of resembles a little bit of Canelo can bring, the power. So I mean, he's kind of doing the same thing too. That's just boxing, man. They just take it too far. These dudes.
They really do, man. It's
so wait a minute, who's Crawford sparring with?
Lester Martinez is Guatemalan, I think. A fighter of Guatemalan origin.
He's Guatemalan, by the way.
Guatemalan
He's a 68-pounder, and Crawford got dropped in sparring with the 14 or 16-ounce gloves.
That's what they say.
That's true, Sober. Imagine if that's what they say. But if you haven't been in a fight in a year, let alone against a full-fledged 68-pounder with 10-ounce gloves, and you got dropped on sparring, Jesus.
I mean, I don't even know if that's true. I mean, people make. I remember when Gypsy Boxing Style jumped on the stream prior to Usyk Fury, or in the build-up to that fight, and claimed that he'd heard, I don't know where he had special sources, Usyk got dropped hard. And I remember Jimmy's like, wait, I don't know why Jimmy started got a little riled up. He's like, wait, where'd you hear this, dude? Where'd you hear that? That's trash. No, he didn't say trash, but there's always stories coming out, man. There's always stories coming out about sparring this guy got whooped in sparring, he's gonna lose. I remember hearing Tarver was looking like shit in the build-up to the Roy Jones fight back in 2003, and then what happened? He ended up giving Roy Jones hell. So take these stories, sparring stories, with a grain of salt. But man,
sparring stories. Sorry,
go ahead.
No, sparring stories, and what I love the most also is amateur days. I mean, how many times have we seen a pro turn around their amateur losses before? And, they beat him in the amateur, so they're going to beat him again. Like, they're not the same fighters they were back then. Mm-hmm. And again, sparring isn't an actual fight. There's all sorts of different elements. Like, one, there's no real crowd. Two, you're fighting with big gloves and headgear and everything else. It's not a real fight. It can turn into one, because I've seen some gym rivalries where every time these guys sparred, everybody would stop to watch. But it's still not, the real fight. There's other elements to. Plus, you don't have as much protective gear, so it doesn't mean as much. Plus, one guy might be taking it lightly. Do we actually believe that Paul Spadafora would have whooped the crap out of Floyd Mayweather in a real fight?
Exactly. See, yeah,
he might have won. He might have won. Might have won, but more than likely he would have lost, right? But he whooped the crap out of Floyd, and it's video footage of it happening in real time online. You can see it. Spadafora put a beating on him, so it's just a sparring contest. One guy took it real seriously, and one guy didn't.
Yeah, and
that's all that means.
There's multiple factors too. There's multiple factors. Did the guy who get the worst of it in sparring, was he just entering training camp, and the other guy was just already knee deep in training camp and he's peaking or at his peak? Yeah. Had they sparred? Had the guy sparred rounds previously, and this was the third guy that he was sparring, and hence why he didn't look all that great? I mean, just wait. I mean, maybe that guy wasn't feeling it that day either. It happens. Sometimes it's not your day in sparring. I mean, it's just, there's so many factors that it's ridiculous to place that much stock on a sparring session. The worst is yeah.
If I could put 2 more points on it, remember Evander Holyfield and Fernando Vargas were singing the praises of Gary Bell and Ishe Smith on the sparring they got from those guys. So they got so much hype. Gary Bell finally got on TV and got knocked out. It may not have been his very first fight he was on TV, but we weren't impressed with what we saw for bringing such fire to Evander Holyfield's camp. So you gave Holyfield some tough times in sparring. Great. Then you had to be a pro and fight other fighters, and you didn't bring the same energy, or it just was just sparring, like I said. And the way Fernando Vargas bragged on Ishe Smith, we thought he was going to be the next, major world champion 154. Did he even win a title?
No, I don't think he ever did. Or maybe I'm.
Yeah. So
I think.
if he did,
never
it was
won.
a vacant belt that he held for one, but he lost his first title defense.
Listen,
He didn't make it far.
by the time he was fighting, I was already ignoring the alphabet straps. So I don't know, man. But I remember that Vargas. I remember Vargas saying, "There's this guy, Ishe Smith. Watch out for Ishe Smith." I go, okay. I was on. I was like, oh yeah. And then when he was on the Contender, I was like, oh shit, that's the guy that Vargas was talking about. And then Ishe Smith was a good pro fighter. He never made it easy for anybody up until the Lubin fight. But you wonder what the hell Vargas was talking about. Also, by the way, speaking of these fights, Team Batman Boxing says Nathan Gorman said he sparred hundreds of rounds with Daniel Dubois, and he says he never lost once. Then once he fought Dubois stopped him with ease. Yeah, there you go. Ali, I talked about Ali in the last video I did about the Canelo Crawford fight. Ali used to apparently do that. He would lay on the ropes, practice at the rope-a-dope, and it was common for some sparring partners to get the best of him. But then if he really would have fought him, in a real boxing bout, he probably would have whipped him. But he was working on his weaknesses, according to I think it was Angelo Dundee. And by the way, speaking of Vargas, this is the official card here now then for Canelo versus Crawford. There will be a preliminary card taking place on Tudum.com, TKO's YouTube channel, as well as WWE's YouTube channel. There, you're going to have a couple of fights. Steven Nelson's going to be there. Marco Verde, who I believe is Marco Verde, I think that's the Mexican Olympian, I think. Rado Tutsumi, who's been a staple of these Riyadh season cards, is going to be there as well. Jermaine Franklin is going to fight on the preliminaries, and Jermaine Franklin is a name that I've seen now. People starting to throw that name around as a potential opponent for Moses Aitauma. So if Franklin wins this fight, he's got a potential fight against a hot prospect, a very hyped up prospect in the near future. Also, this is the one I'm looking forward to, Sergey Boachuk taking on Brandon Adams, and that could have been in the main card, but it's one of the preliminaries. You might recall that Brandon Adams is the guy that knocked out Boachuk, gave him his first loss back in 2021. So now Boachuk looks for revenge, try to get his get back, as they like to say. It's going to be at a catch weight, however, of 156. Boachuk's a big dude. Who knows how much longer he can stay at 154. Then the main card, Mohamed Alakel versus John Ornelas. Christian Mbili versus the aforementioned Lester Martinez. That's the one I'm looking forward to. Should be fireworks. Mbili doesn't know how to fight any other way but forward, and Martinez is heavy-handed, so it should be an interesting clash of styles. Co-main event, as they call it, Callum Walsh taking on Fernando Vargas Jr. We just talked about Vargas. His son is going to be fighting. And then, of course, the main event, Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford. All of that taking place on Netflix. So that's the card we get. Looking forward to it. Now,
it's Fernando Vargas, not Emiliano, right? The older son with the tattoos on the neck.
well, now I'm confused. Which one is this? Fernando Vargas Jr. Which one? Oh, yeah, that's true. This is another one. This is super welterweight.
So that's the older brother, the one that's not as good.
Does he already have losses on his record? What's his record? Let me check it.
I don't know. I think they're all
He's like-
undefeated. Hang on a second.
He's running like 49 years old, though. He was 27 a couple years back, I recall.
Huh.
Yeah, he's not as polished as the younger brother.
Yeah, the
Yes,
other
he
one's
got power against lower level tier fighters. We don't know what kind of power he has against when you combine all the skills. If he's a whole package, because he's already like 27, 29. I don't know. I remember 27 a long time ago.
You know, a lot of people are complaining about the undercard for such a big fight, but people got to remember, this is a Netflix card. It's not pay-per-view. You're not paying $80 for this. If you were paying $80, believe me, I'd be out there marching with people. I'd be there with my sign, my cardboard sign. Maybe even like it looked like something out of the Frankenstein movie. I'd be riling up the crowd. But it's on Netflix. So it's actually a Sergey a fight against two undefeated guys between Vargas and Walsh. I mean, come on, that's Martinez versus Mbili. That's a decent card for $5. Oh no, how much is in Netflix? It's 10, right? 10, yeah. So I ain't complaining about this. Well, what about you guys?
No,
Well, there you go.
I got Netflix and I'm watching it for free. Well, just pay the monthly subscription. It's fine.
There you go. There you go. What else was I gonna say? Yeah. By the way, I don't. This is I don't watch female boxing, but this Sky Nicholson, I wouldn't mind watching her. But this video is kind of bizarre. Check this out.
Me and who I fire, I get what I desire. It's my empire, and yes, I call the shots. I am the umpire. I sprinkle holy water upon the
Hold on, I think I gotta mute the music there. So she's singing along with what sounds like the type of lyrics that I would have written, like an amateur rapper. Somebody who's trying to rap for the first time. That's the type of shit I would have written. Like if somebody, I don't know jack shit about rap. So somebody asked me, hey, write a rap song. I'd just be looking through the dictionary for words that rhyme. That's how this song sounds like. So there's Sky Nicholson. I don't know what she's doing. I will say that. Yeah. I will say that the whole rap thing, it's just become a popular style now.
Because you're a whore.
It's just become a popular style. And doesn't she already have a loss, Sky Nicholson, or am I mixing her up with somebody else?
Oh, yeah.
I think everybody left. Sobers.
I'm trying to do research on fighters right now. You're talking about Sky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't follow.
Fuck.
What's that?
Yeah, I don't follow women's boxing.
Good for you, man.
I
Good
don't
for you.
follow much either.
No, listen.
Especially
Hey,
women's British.
I mean, listen, I don't know. Now I'm just playing sound effects here. What was I going to say about this? I was going to say something, and now I forgot. Listen, the point is this. Eddie Hearn, people are saying Eddie Hearn's tapping that. I don't know about that. Those sound like some spurious allegations, and we're certainly not going to have that because we don't want to get sued by Mr. Eddie Hearn. Now, I will say this. We got that card there, like I said, coming up, Canelo Crawford. It's a good card. Another interesting thing here, speaking of Eddie Hearn, Jay Apataya, this is the latest news, might end up moving to a heavyweight without unifying. Promoter Eddie Hearn has stated that undisputed cruiserweight ambitions for Jay Apataya, 28-0 with 22 knockouts, are in jeopardy, potentially leading to a premature move to heavyweight. Apparently, they've been looking for the unification bout against Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez, but Ramirez is going to be sidelined for the rest of 2025 due to shoulder injury. Then Opetaya was getting forced by the IBF to fight his mandatory. Again, another no-hoper. Although I'm not familiar with the guy. A glossy record of 23-0, 19 knockouts. 40-year-old German by the name of Hussein Sinkara. Yeah, that's a real German-sounding name. So apparently, I think Opetaya is tired of these mismatches, and he's just going to say, you know what? I'm moving on. What do you guys think? Is this the right move for Opetaya, who's already in his 30s? There's not much to do at cruiserweight. Is this the right move? Just move up to heavyweight already. See what you can do over there.
But what versus unifying down at cruiserweight?
He can't right now. Zurdo Ramirez is sidelined, or is going to be sidelined due to a shoulder injury.
Okay, is there no other fight he can make for another title down there?
No, there's nobody else. Wow, fight Brady's for the third time?
Good point. I don't follow cruiserweights enough to know exactly where he's sitting at. That's why I'm asking so many questions. But I mean, if there's nothing you can do to go ahead and try and solidify yourself to be a bigger, to do what Usyk and Holyfield did of making yourself like in the mix without having to fight another heavyweight, for lack of a better way of putting it. And you do that by unifying, by saying, all right, I've dominated this division, now I'm moving up. You might do one quick fight to acclimate, and then after that, you're trying to get a title shot. If he can't get that at his weight, then yeah, he should move up. Especially if making the weights starting to be a strain at his age, he should move up. Yeah, like you said, 36. You said
30. What?
How old did you say he was again?
He's in his early 30s.
Oh, early 30s. Okay, but the heavyweights fight maybe twice a year. Yeah, you need to move now.
Yeah. I've been looking forward to.
You've already missed your peak. You're about to miss your prime. You better move up now.
He's 30 years old, by the way. I just checked here. He better move up. I've been waiting for this move up. And listen, I'm not one of those guys that, move up to heavyweight. Any cruise, no. But there's nothing for him at cruiserweight now. Somebody that chats at Badu Jack, I mean, something tells me that it was the speed, the style from Opetaya. He would just keep Badu Jack turning, who at this age, Badu Jack just put those earmuffs up and tries to weather the storm and tire guys out. This ain't Makabu in there. Jay Opetaya, it might look similar to the Marcus Brown fight. So I'm not, it wouldn't be the worst fight in the world. It wouldn't be the worst fight in the world. I would watch it, obviously, but I'm much more interested now, like Chief said, 30 years old, you're about to enter your physical peak or maybe even the last year of your physical prime. He's not going to get any faster or any, maybe he will get stronger, but I don't think he's going to get any faster. Reflexes aren't going to get any sharper. He should just move up to heavyweight.
Yep.
Yeah, just get it done that way. By the way, people
if you can't, let's say he's a no-hoper against these heavyweights. Let me just say this real quick. Then the only other thing you can do left is to try and pad your bank account for your retirement, and you're not going to get that at cruiserweight. So you need to move up, try and get the money fights and or the title fights to make your statement as a fighter and move on, because you don't have enough time left to do too much else.
That's what I would say. And again, I remember when David Hay was at cruiserweight, I still wanted him to stay at cruiserweight for a little bit more. But then he moved up to heavyweight. It's like, man, come on, stay at cruiserweight a little bit more. For Opetaya, there's nothing else to do. Just stay in the cruiserweight division, waiting for Zurdo Ramirez. Move up already. I don't know who he would fight though, and Moses Aitama has already stolen his thunder as it pertains to being the next potential heavyweight star. Because when people look at Opetaya, he has similar dimensions to Usyk. He's got speed. He's southpaw. Might be able to carry some of that power up to heavyweight. But now Aitama's come on the scene, and everybody's talking about Aitama. Aitama beats everybody now, apparently. With Usyk, it's not a question of necessarily if he beats Usyk, it's about when. But nonetheless, it's Aitama's really, the hype train has begun. And either you get on or you get yelled at by the people on it. And they'll throw garbage at you and stuff like that. It happens. That's what I do when I'm on a train. Now, I wanted to bring this up too as well. Hold on a second. Where is this? Oh, yeah. Okay. So, Official Scorecard Boxing sent me this clip here. He claims that this is a liver shot that hurt Crawford. So, to be more exact, this is from the Avenisian fight. He claims that Avenisian hurt Crawford here with a body shot. Let's take a gander at this clip that he sent us. Yes, indeed. Well, he said initially, I think he said to the liver. That's not the liver, but yeah, it did seem like he hurt him to the plexus.
Wrong side.
Did he cause him to stumble and he was on his heels and that way but was he on his heels already and that's why he stumbled? Maybe he was a little too squared up. I don't know.
Well, he is square. He doesn't have any balance. But the way he bends at the hips there and at his lower back, not just at the hips, at his lower back. That's a hunch over.
That's not a liver shot, though.
No, it was not a liver shot. You're correct.
He misspoke. He
on the wrong side of the body. But it was a body shot, and like you said, it wasn't like he. So when a guy's rolling with a body shot, for lack of a better way to put it, he's bending at the hips and his back's still straight. Bud hunched over there. He bent his lower back. That one hurt. That one got to him a little bit. He stumbled largely because his feet were square. But if you're not hurt, you can, and you're somewhat nimble, like Crawford can be at times, you just kind of shuffle your feet and you move away. That didn't happen there. He stumbled. And that was as much from the balance as it was from the shot. Meaning the damage from the shot.
See if I can play this in slow motion here. I forget how to do this shit here with this new player. There we go. All right. I got a new media player so I can slow things down. I don't know. It seems like he's squared up. Look at his legs. It seems like he's already on his heels. Maybe that's why he got.
Yeah, but almost lifted him up.
And he did try to clinch, though. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, the fact that he tries to go for the clinch as opposed to, or maybe it's because he felt he was out of balance. I don't know. I can already tell he's got shitty footwork in that sequence there. I mean, not that he has shitty footwork overall, but in that sequence he had bad positioning. But you're right, though. Yeah, the way he got lifted back and up a little bit.
both feet lifted up. So that almost like lifted him off his feet a little bit. Almost, I don't want to overrate it and say Foreman-esque, but I mean, Foreman used to do people body shots and lift them off their feet. That's pretty much what happened there. Both feet went up. So it wasn't just the fact that he was square. And like you said, he was on his heels. To be honest with you, when I looked at that, I think the shot is what put him on it. It looked like he was solid-footed, flat-footed, but squared, right? Wasn't backing up. He wasn't leaning back. The weight wasn't on his heels. That shot put his weight on his heels and caused him to stumble. And like I said, the way he bent over, his lower back bent, not his hips. He wasn't trying to roll it. It hit him, and that caused him to bend over. So that one stunned him for a second. He was obviously in good condition because he recovered quickly, but that one probably knocked the wind out of him for a second.
Real quick, because we got to move on to our stuff here too, but I have a crazy notion here, Chief, that
What's up?
Crawford is probably going to try to back Canelo up in this one. Again, when I say that, people immediately say that's crazy, it's not going to work. Again, I'm not saying it's going to work. I don't know if it's going to work. All I'm saying is I have this crazy notion that all this talk about don't run, people are expecting Crawford to run. He might try to throw Canelo off for a loop by standing his ground or even trying to back him up. What say ye?
Well, I mean, we thought the same thing would have been crazy and wasn't going to happen with Evander Holyfield versus Mike Tyson, but Holyfield did it and it was very effective at it. But Holyfield also been a heavyweight for quite some time. This is Crawford's first fight at 168. So other than the grappling skills we know he has against guys his own size and weight at 147, we don't know how he's going to be able to try and shift that weight at 168 against a guy who's thicker, stockier, and been there longer. He may think that he's got
Thicker
the
and
advantage to
longer.
do so. So I just don't see it being. We'll find out when they first tie up on if he's able to get any leverage or not.
Right.
I don't think it's a smart move. I do think he should be using that reach, but he doesn't always use that reach anyway. He usually does kind of go inside and kind of grapple and look for inside shots, and so this is already his game plan. That he's used against other fighters, and it's what he did against Sean Porter. It's what he did against Spence on numerous occasions. So he likes to go inside and kind of rough up a little bit and look for those inside shots and hold and hit and things like that. So the problem is I just don't think it's going to work against Canelo, because when you start to hold and hit, Canelo's going to answer back. He's all right, you got a hold of this arm and you're trying to hit me. If the shots don't hurt Canelo, he will flail back with his free hand. And we'll find out exactly what Crawford can take. As far as is that going to be his game plan? Yeah, I think that he might actually try to do that also. Whether he switches strategies or he's going to try to sporadically trade in and out, meaning everyone says he's going to move and you're saying he's going to stand his ground. Whether he tries to strategically do that on different rounds remains to be seen. But I think the first time he realizes it doesn't work, he's not going to keep doing it.
Well, you heard Chief right there say, I think you said Canelo is bigger and longer. I don't know. Crawford's the one that's
I meant heavier. I don't know if I said longer. I thought I said heavier.
You said, and you emphasized bigger and longer. You said it in a weird way, and then you said they're gonna get inside. And I don't know where you were going with this, with your choice of words there. But yeah, Crawford does have the longer reach. But I understand what you're saying.
Yes, he does.
Just didn't like.
He does. And it would benefit him to try and use that. But I mean, look at all the guys that had reach on Canelo before that didn't work.
Yeah, I just found it weird the way you emphasized bigger, longer, like you were, I don't know. It was weird. It was weird.
Well, I did. Sorry.
You're mine now, Tony. You are mine. You are my meat. You're my possession.
No,
I don't know.
I was just thinking about eating sausage for breakfast. So.
I don't think he will, because he's got the longer arms. So if he tries to back him up, Canelo's gonna thread in between his punches quicker. The shorter arm guy, kind of like, never mind. I don't want to go there, but yeah, the shorter guy's got the advantage on the inside. The shorter guy's got the advantage. The guy with the shorter arms, and I think Crawford probably will do better if he tries to utilize timing and taking that step back, like I mentioned earlier, and catching you on the counter because he's got the longer arms.
Yeah, very good point.
Well, we shall see. That's
what's that heavyweight that was like 5'7" from the 80s that used to fight? Obviously bigger guys. He fought. Who did he fight? He beat a lot of those guys up.
Talking about Bert Cooper?
Yeah, he mentioned them. No, it was an African dude.
Oh, you're talking about the guy who recently passed away. A guy who fought Holyfield. That was a cruiserweight.
Yeah, that guy.
Chief, what
Yeah.
was? Fuck,
He was good.
Not Kawi. Yeah.
Yeah, Kawi. Yeah,
yeah.
Kawi. He was. I was watching something on TV because he just recently died.
He went to
But
career
my
heavyweight. That's
advantage-
why that was throwing me off.
My advantage was on the inside because I got the shorter arms. I got the advantage on the inside because when I'm on the outside, the other guy's catching me at the edge of his wheelhouse, at the edge of his punch.
Well,
Yeah.
that's
So
my
yeah,
thing.
I
Listen,
think Canelo clips Crawford easier on the inside than Crawford clips Canelo.
the reason why I brought this up, this whole notion of Crawford trying to fight contrary to popular belief, is because I've seen it happen before. But then there's a couple of exceptions or context matters, like people saying we got to look at the context. So let me just say real quick, the why initially I think it might happen, and then let me tell you why it's going to be different, or probably will be. Nate Campbell, when he fought Juan Diaz, it's still one of my favorite fights to watch because Juan Diaz was a pressure fighter, outworking everybody. This was in the 2000s, and then Nate Campbell, he was a good fighter, but he was hot and cold. When he was good, but then he would look like shit in his next fight and would lose, and it was just so people were expecting Juan Diaz to just run through the guy because Diaz was younger, fresher, blah blah blah. Nate Campbell fought him on the inside and beat Diaz at his own game. But now let me tell you the caveat to all this comparison. First of all, Juan Diaz wasn't a puncher. Canelo is. Canelo's also a better defensive fighter than Diaz. So that right there. And on top of that, Nate Campbell was always a good inside fighter. He could fight in the pocket and launch some vicious body shots. Crawford can fight on the inside, but it's not his forte. He'd rather keep you at the end of his shots and make you jump in. That's why whenever people talk about how, Crawford makes all these great adjustments, when he fought Sean Porter, maybe I missed it. Maybe we should do a film analysis. Somebody pointed me out what amazing adjustment he did, because it just seemed to me like he was just waiting for Crawford to keep running in, and eventually he caught him. I know it's not as simple as that. I mean, I'm pretty sure he ended up saying, "Oh, maybe I can catch him with this instead of that." I agree, but what I'm saying is it wasn't the major adjustment I did see was when he fought Cavaloskas. I've said it before. That's my favorite Crawford fight, because he was getting outworked and outboxed by Cavaloskas. And then Crawford said, okay, I'm going to turn the tables on this dude. I'm going to back the stronger fighter up because he's not used to it. And indeed, that's how he drained Cavaloskas' battery. But therein lies what I'm saying. When people think about Crawford outboxing Canelo, that seems to be the popular narrative. All Canelo has is size and power, and if that doesn't work, Crawford outboxes him. My question is, how come he could not box Cavaloskas? He could not box him off the back foot. He had to push him back uncharacteristically. So again, this notion that what I'm getting at is if he could not box Cavaloskas, why are people so certain that he outboxes Canelo? Is Canelo really that finished compared to Cavaloskas?
No, actually, Canelo's got, in my opinion, just to be honest, dude, Canelo's got the higher boxing IQ. How did you mention all those mistakes? Canelo hardly ever makes a glaring mistake. You know what I mean?
Well, Gonzalo, when you say that, people immediately think you're crazy, because they're thinking when you say that he's got superior IQ, people immediately think you're saying he's that much superior. Doesn't matter if you say Canelo may be the superior IQ, possesses a superior IQ, but it might just be by a little. Doesn't mean it has to be by a whole lot. So people think in binary. People think in either or. They don't seem to understand that. But when I hear people talk about Crawford, they're really laying it on thick that Crawford is that much more intelligent than Canelo.
He's got some special attributes that differ from Canelo's. Mm-hmm. He's got he's also got timing. Probably pound for pound. I mean, he probably hits harder because he's got 9 knockouts. He knocked out all the welterweights, and I'm not exaggerating. For some reason, I mean, maybe Canelo, when he was fighting at that weight, if he would have stayed longer, he probably wouldn't have got all his knockouts either. But then again, it could be due to different, not just punch for punch. I don't know. I'm just saying that he switch hits. He's got certain things that he does good that maybe Canelo can't do. But all around, I don't think that Canelo makes the mistakes that Crawford does. That's all.
That's not crazy to say. That's not crazy to say because I'm looking at again. I've really been looking. I normally don't do this, but I'm so into this fight, obviously, that I'm even getting into the statistics and punch outputs and all that. And I noticed that like in the last couple of fights, Canelo, the CompuBox has him getting hit a lot. I mean, a lot. You know, like somebody threw 600 shots at him. I think it was Munguia. Actually, I should pull him up. Anyway, I'm looking at Crawford that currently statistically gets hit less according to CompuBox. But then you watch his fights and you go, how come it looks like he's getting hit more? Canelo's coming forward and he's got his gloves up. And I think there's CompuBox, there's landed punches. What I'm trying to get at here is that it's easier to count the thrown punches than the landed ones. Because you don't know from the vantage point ringside, you don't know if the exact punch landed, was it parried, was it blocked. You know, Canelo likes to keep his chin tucked in, so he rarely gets his head snapped back. And I said, that's the thing. That's why it seems as if Crawford gets hit more, because it's quality over quantity. Maybe Canelo gets touched in the face a little bit more, but he's not getting his head snapped back. Crawford, on the other hand, when he gets hit, you can't miss it. His head snaps back. He gets his face swiveling side to side like a Pez dispenser, back and forth. That's why it looks more dramatic. So you're right. There is a bit of a difference here in defense. That's why some people are finally starting to wake up to the fact that Canelo might have the better defense in this fight.
Yeah, and not only that, it's not so much, I guess, who makes more mistakes. I think they both have good IQ. I just think that Canelo is better defensively, but he can also he has more he has not opportunity, but he can make a mistake and still get away with it because he's got an. Can Crawford get away with it if he gets hit solidly? That's the situation that I'm looking at.
And you also made a point, BDA, that Canelo tucks that chin, and Crawford doesn't. It's not that he keeps it high up in the air, but he doesn't really tuck it in. And so when he does get hit, his head does move. And people mistake defense for Pernell Whitaker. No, a high guard is still a defense, but that's what Winky Wright's defense was. That was his claim to fame. He used a high guard. That was hard to get past it. Mickey Ward used it also. It was really hard to get past it.
Yeah, people underrate a good guard. And if you look at Nonito Donaire, he used to rely a lot on that step back counter left hook.
But he's using the high guard. You know? Yeah. So
you cut off, by the way.
But
that's why I thought you were finished.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so just to wrap up, Canelo's also good at moving that head. At least he used to be, especially against Triple G in the first fight, which was a long time ago. But he does know how to kind of move it side to side, bob and weave, and pull back in a way to make you miss by inches. And at least he used to. And Crawford doesn't have that kind of head movement. So the overall better defensive fighter really is Canelo, regardless what the stats say. Because like you said, CompuBox doesn't know what they see. Sweat flying off his head, but that could have hit the glove, you know, in which case that's technically a blocked shot. So,
well, I mean, yeah, CompuBox.
I do believe Canelo is the better defensive fighter.
CompuBox, I mean, I remember, if anybody hasn't watched this fight, watch Calzaghe-Hopkins. I know it's a hard fight to watch because Hopkins was clinching a lot, but CompuBox had Calzaghe landing 200-something shots. I think over 200 shots on Hopkins. And even Hopkins, I think I remember him saying, but when people brought that up to him, he says, do I look at my face? Do I look like I got hit by 200 shots? And it's true. I don't know what they were counting. Maybe they're counting the taps that are landing. Because again, you can get, what's a counted punch for these dudes? If I land a jab on Chief, but Chief is tucking his chin in, and my jab breaks his guard, but doesn't snap his head back, but I did touch his face. So in other words, I touched his face, but I didn't snap his head back. Is that a counted blow? Because again, the rules say clean, effective punching. Was that clean? Was that effective? See, those are the things that they got to take into consideration. It's not a black and white thing where, I saw the punch land, so that's more than... Yeah, it's a difficult thing to gauge. And I think both guys might get hit more than they want to at times because they are offensive fighters. Crawford, even though he's a counterpuncher, he will open up too. Maybe that's why he gets his head snapped back and so dramatically. But he gets hit too. People that are making it to be like Bivol and Mayweather definitely have better defense than Crawford. But then again, Crawford is a better offensive fighter than those guys. I mean, like Gonzalo said.
You know what I found odd, BD? Sorry. You know what I found odd? Did you see the interview or like, you know what, Amir Khan was speaking on YouTube about because he fought both fighters. He's the only guy that fought both. He said Canelo is super easy to hit. I was like, wait, what the fuck is up with this guy? Then he said Crawford isn't.
You know what
I
this
don't know
reminds
where
me
he's
of,
coming from.
Gonzalo? This reminds me of when people would fight Manny Pacquiao, and they just wouldn't get, like, it seems like they didn't watch tape of the guy. Like, I remember Juan Miller Marquez, when he fought Pacquiao, he said in the first round, Marquez said, "Oh, I thought it was going to be easy. I was landing on him. He looked smaller than me." And then all of a sudden, Pacquiao would uncork that 1-2, close the distance way quicker than these guys anticipated. And then they realized, oh shit, he's on something. He's special. He's on something else here, this dude. He's on another level. And I think that's the same thing with Canelo. It's, people say, oh, these fighters, they're fighters. They see things we don't. Perhaps that's true, especially in the ring. But maybe they're not that great at picking things up when they watch video. Or maybe they don't even watch video. Maybe they do. Their trainer does it for them, and then he fails to relay the information. Because it's true. I keep hearing people say Canelo's easy to hit. He's backing up younger guys. Listen, say what you want about Berlanga and Munguia. Oh, they're not pound for pounders. I agree. They're younger, bigger, heavy-handed guys. You would have thought a guy who's easy to hit, you would have seen him, getting dropped or getting hurt at some point. He's the guy walking back these dudes, and he's doing it maintaining defense. I did see Berlanga landing more jabs than usually land on Canelo, but that's also because Berlanga's heavy-handed. Crawford may be more precise with his jab, but he certainly is not as heavy-handed. We'll see on fight night. I don't know. Maybe the extra bulk is going to add with the speed and work that way. But other than that, Canelo's defense is usually on point. Even against Bivol, Bivol had to work to touch him. He had to throw those 6-7 punch combos to land 2-3. And then when Canelo would go on the ropes trying to bait him, Bivol wouldn't want to go there because he knew, oh shit, this guy's trying to set me up for something. Bivol respected that dude. So that just goes to show you, even in losing, Canelo's defense still tricky to figure out.
Yeah. And I guess with the whole thing with like going back to Amir Khan, I think in Canelo's mind, I'm pretty sure in his corner, they knew that fight was not going to go the distance. So instead of like executing two movements, like try to get out of the way of the punch, then countering, well, fuck, I'll just take a punch and just remain in place and just get you right back. So I'm cutting one step out of the process, and I'm just eventually going to get you because I'm right there in position to land, to throw.
Mm-hmm.
And, he just never thought that fight was going to go the distance. That's what, but now you change it up against a guy like Bivol. Yes, not that he doesn't know. It's just the game plan.
Yeah, Crawford,
Khan, he got quick hands. You just got to kind of like read in between the punches and see through them and not move a whole lot. Yeah.
It's different defensive modalities here. I mean, Canelo can box off the back foot like he did against Golovkin, but it's not his forte. And he certainly wasn't going to work against Golovkin. Just backing up against Golovkin, that doesn't work. The guy had a good boxing acumen, good amateur experience dossier that he knew how to control the distance and all that. If you backed up against that dude, you gave momentum, you ended up on the ropes, and that's all she wrote. But Canelo can backs off the back foot. He just likes pushing guys back. It's easier for him, and the judges tend to like it. Crawford, he can fight going forward like he did against Dirija and against Cavaloskas, but he prefers it if you go to him. Crawford's main line of defense are his legs and his counterpunching, because people get what's it called? They get hesitant going inside. That's why Madrimov wasn't exactly chomping at the bit to jump in and trade with him, because he respected Crawford's timing and power. The thing is Canelo going to respect it as much as Madrimov did, that he's going to refuse to go inside and he's going to allow Crawford to outwork him on the outside? That's the question, because Crawford can fire throwaway shots like he did against Avenisian and keep a guy turning. But then again, even against Avenisian, he was getting tagged. So you wonder how that's going to work against a stronger, better opponent. I mean, it's just a whole bunch of questions here leading up to this fight. Bunch of what ifs.
There is another thing of a what if that I haven't heard too many people say, is that when a fighter's punch resistance diminishes or is gone, which there's no proof of that happening to Canelo yet, sometimes it's instant. So it's not always like a slowly progressive situation. They're like, oh, it's, his punch resistance is starting to go down. He's probably got 5 or 6 more fights. There's not a bar above them on a video game where suddenly it goes down and then it's gone. And even though Canelo doesn't get hit clean very easily, when, again, his face is getting marked up from the high guard, those punches are still impacting his neck. And so, one, we don't know if Crawford carries that punch up, but if he does, is this going to be the fight where we're going to start to see the punch resistance go down? because it happens to everybody eventually. Even if they don't necessarily get knocked out, there's some fighters that are just really tough that rarely get knocked out. They don't when they're younger, they're able to like take that punch and respond quickly. They respond slower and later because those punches start to hurt. It's like what Pete said a long time ago. Those shotgun guys that are in the competition, they eventually have a hesitation to pull that trigger because it starts to hurt their shoulder after a while. You know those punches are going to start to hurt that neck. You're still a fighter, so that's what you do. You're going to take it because that's your style. But it just slows down. That impact just starts to slow down your reaction time.
Absolutely.
And I don't think that's going to happen to Canelo in this fight, but this could be the fight where we start to see it. We don't know yet.
You never know. Yeah, you never know. I do find it interesting thing when people say, well, Canelo's been in a lot of wars. That's what I keep hearing in the comment sections of our videos. He's been in a lot of wars. I can't remember the last time he was in a war. Maybe the Golovkin fight? The rematch? Other than that, I really don't see the war. To me, a war is something like Barrera Morales 1 and 3, or, well, maybe that's obviously a war. I don't see wars that Canelo gets into. I didn't see him get into a war against Berlanga or Munguia or School or Caleb Plant or Billy Joe Saunders or John Ryder. He did stand his ground a little bit more because John Ryder's a gorilla. That's another short, stocky fighter like Canelo. And he did eat some shots in that one, Canelo. He was just trying to really fit. Charlo, I didn't see it being a war. So I don't know where people get that from. Again, it's just people tend to repeat things that some of us didn't see. By the way, I'm opening up the phone lines here. Opening up the phone lines just in case anybody wants to give us some quick comments on Canelo Crawford as the fight gets closer. So make sure to come in here and give us your thoughts on the fight. And in the meantime, I got a couple of other things to talk about here. Oh, yeah, it's interesting. Timothy Bradley also posted another video saying Canelo Crawford prediction, unbiased prediction or something like that. And I'm thinking that's how you got to qualify things nowadays, unfortunately, on social media, because people think if you pick Canelo to win, you must be a Crawford hater or you're just Mexican. And if you pick Crawford, some people go, you're a Canelo hater. So do you really have to qualify things now as unbiased? Just give your thoughts and let people decide. No, unfortunately, that's not enough because some people, the last couple of videos we've made, I made some points and then I read the comments and then I see people like, oh, how come you didn't do this or how come that? And I'm thinking that's in the video. It's in the first 3 minutes of the video. Did you not watch the thing? So that's why I don't even reply to most comments because I can't be bothered. If you don't watch the video and you're not even fucking making the effort to do that, why would I make the effort to respond? And I'm not going to go back. I'd much rather have people call in and then discuss the certain things with people on the air than going back and forth typing. I'm done with the typing, man. I hate that. But that's what I wanted to say about that. Okay, so, excuse me. Here's another thing. In the news, Israel Madrimov. Israel Madrimov might be returning in December. He's aiming to return in December. He's already 30 years old, so time is ticking. He cites a viral infection from late 2024 as his most significant health challenge, which apparently forced him to withdraw from a planned December bout against Boachuk. Madrimov also says that some of the illness also forced him to be less than stellar against Ortiz. He says he wasn't able to perform that day, but then he says no excuses. So it's classic boxing or classic boxer story. He gives you the excuse, and then he says, "But no excuses." Or sometimes they proceed by saying, "I don't want to make excuses, but," and then they give you the excuse. Now listen, if the guy really was ill, hey, listen, shit, man. I wouldn't mind seeing a Virgil Ortiz rematch, but how do we really know if that's true? I don't know. So. He should have brought that up before. And so many people were already dropping out of that card. Maybe he felt like he didn't want to do it. But I don't know, man. Well, I like watching Madrimov fight. He's heavy-handed. He's well-schooled. So I wouldn't mind seeing him fight again. The sooner the better. What else? There's a couple of other things here. Anthony Joshua's looking for opponents.
What do you think about the...
Yes.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm just gonna ask video about you posted about the judges and the commentators.
Mm-hmm.
Max Kellerman's coming back.
Yeah, Bucho posted
so that's
that.
Cool or what?
Yeah, Bucho posted that, and you can tell who. I mean, come on, Andrew Ward has done nothing but the ride Canelo Alvarez, which again is fine, but usually you want unbiased commentators. He's far from unbiased. Max Kellerman on the as well. We know he already, he said in the press conference, "I have Crawford number 1." How can you have that guy number 1 ahead of Usyk and Inoue? That's insane to me. And then we know how he feels about Andre Ward. He probably wishes. Let's just put it this way: if Andrew Ward's wife somehow got into an accident, God forbid, knock on wood, but if she somehow got into an accident, I don't think Kellerman would be too sad about it. If you know what I mean, I think he see that as an opportunity to slide right in next to Andrew Ward. So whatever Ward says, Kellerman is already going to go ahead with, and on top of that, Kellerman is he's always like the so-called slick fighter, right? Even though we know Crawford's not exactly known as a slick fighter, but Kellerman is the guy who kept telling us nonstop that Zab Judah was Pernell Whitaker with power. He's also the guy that was in love with Chris Bird. And listen, shout out to Chris Bird, fighting heavier guys and standing still, fighting them off the ropes. That took a lot of balls. But what I'm telling you is Kellerman has a certain preference. And I think it's quite apparent what the Sheik is doing. And by the way, people are going to say, well, how come? How Canelo's the A side? How can you say he's the guy that's received questionable decisions, this and that? This is the fight where they want the big American success journey. That's what the writers want. That's what the establishment wants, because that's something that they can build off of. On top of that, they can do a rematch. Crawford doesn't even have to win a convincing decision. He just has to do just enough to get the benefit of the doubt, and he's going to get it. Believe me. And if people think I'm wrong, hey, I'd like to hear how I'm wrong. The phone lines are open. Phone numbers right there in the left and middle portion of your screen. But what do you think, Gonzalo? You think there's something amiss here with the announcers?
No, that was pretty interesting what you just said. Because I think Tolbert was thinking the opposite, and he made some pretty valid points why Canelo would win and that Crawford ultimately would need a knockout. But what you just said makes a lot of sense.
I mean, I would have expected Jim Lamp. I was under the impression Lampley and Tarver were going to do the commentating based on the great job they did during the last couple of cards. But I don't know. See, that's what makes me think why Kellerman and Ward. Ward wasn't exactly setting the internet afire with his comments when he was a ESPN commentator. Max Kellerman, listen, we know he's got a big time agent working his corner, so he gets all the cushy gigs. But neither of these guys, no, hardcore. But if you talk to real hardcore boxing fans, they don't like Kellerman and they don't like Ward's come. And by the way, Ward, wasn't he in camp helping Caleb Plant prepare against Canelo? So again, that's another thing that makes
it going to be objective. No.
Yeah, I mean,
it does seem like they're setting the table. They're setting the table for the big American victory.
I was listening to Shadow Ghost yesterday. He did a stream and he hit the nail on the head. Every little thing Crawford does well, they're gonna amplify it by 4. They're gonna amplify everything times 100. Taps, semi-landed jabs, everything's gonna go. Again, people, I know it's crazy to think that because Canelo's the A side, but at this point, they've already made that the establishment's already made money off Canelo. Now they get to do it off Crawford. They got the big American success journey that they can write about, that they can market.
I believe I mentioned this before, BDA. By the time it's fight night, the odds are going to be split down the middle.
I agree. I think that's something we're going to...
convincing themselves that Crawford can win.
I agree. I would agree. By the way, the phone lines are open, people. The phone lines are open. If you want to call in, we're going to be here for a couple more minutes. So I would encourage people to call in. I suspect the call-in shows are going to get even crazier as we get closer to the fight. So don't forget, we do have open lines here. Yeah. We do have open phone lines here, so make sure to call in. While I wait to see if people call in, otherwise we just leave. But I wanted to bring this up too. I saw this on Twitter. It was Marcos Villegas from Fight Hub. He was online a couple of days ago complaining about how there's no Hispanic representation when it comes to announcers, which he says is crazy because a lot of Hispanics watch boxing, and a large part of the boxing viewership is composed of Hispanics. So he found it interesting that there weren't any Hispanic commentators. And I'm thinking, look, if I would have noticed that, I would have said, yeah, that's true, that's weird, blah, blah, blah. But I don't watch boxing for the commentators. So whether the guy's Hispanic or Afro-Anglo, Eskimo, I really don't care, man. But this comment did pick. And anyway, people were clowning Villegas for saying that. Some people were even accusing him of wanting to get a job on the zone or something. But then he said this. He said 2.4 million subs, talking about his channel, I believe. Close to 2 billion views on YouTube. That's a lot, 2 billion. And still got to fight for interviews. 1,000% BS. Not 100% BS, 1,000%. So I suspect somebody's shutting him out from getting access to fighters. And I'm thinking, well, listen, that's one of the downsides of doing what this type of channels do. There is a big demand for that. People love hearing these interviews with fighters, even though most of the time you got to go through, if it's a 7-minute interview, 90% of it is just fluff and just the fighter telling you things he's already told 1,000 other reporters, and maybe even every once in a while you'll get a nugget. And these guys, they take that nugget and they formulate it into a good, catchy thumbnail or title, and boom, that's what they do. That's how they make their money. And again, there's a big demand for these type of videos. Just look at the views. But then that's also the downside of this. I don't know who he's referring to, which fighter he's referring to, but if once they don't want to talk to you, what do? If you're Eli Segback, you start badmouthing them. But if you're Villegas, he starts being a little bit indirect. Villegas, I don't mind Villegas. I don't see him asking stupid questions. He actually asks good questions. He's respectful. So I don't know what he might have done to piss somebody off. It's also not like he's asking super hard questions or calling people out or anything. So it's just interesting that this is occurring to him. But before I continue with that, let's go to the phone calls here. Let's go to 442. 442, you're on the air. 442, what's on your mind?
Hello?
Yes, 442, you're on the air.
Yeah, I was just listening to how you're talking about how they're like stacking the deck against Alvarez, and it really doesn't make sense. They signed him to that big 4-fight deal, and yeah, I mean, it just doesn't make sense why they would do that, but I see that too, It seems like they're trying to set him up. What I think is they're trying to get 2 fights out of this. And they both didn't look good in their last fight. Alvarez couldn't cut off the ring against that guy that was running, and then Madrimov beat Crawford. I don't know what that really blew my mind. That they robbed him because he's like the champion. He just Crawford was weary. He didn't want to attack. And this guy's tagging him. And when the punches land, I just don't look at the punches landing, but I'm looking at the effects of the punches. And Crawford's punches weren't having the same effect as Madrimov's punches were on Crawford. And the commentating crew was talking about it was close. Yeah, I didn't see a close fight. I seen Madrimov win there 116, 112. And I'm just looking, and I'm like, man, what the hell is Crawford? They're just outright lying. Oh, he's doing this, he's doing that. Crawford's landing, Madrimov's landing in punches. They're just ignoring it. But yeah, that seems real fishy. What's going on? It does seem like they're setting it up. I think they're trying to get 2 fights out of this. But either way, Alvarez got to knock this guy out. He deserves no credit for beating Crawford. Crawford's climbing up from 154. He lost. Forget Alvarez not looking good. This guy lost. I don't see how people are saying it was close. I don't see how people he that was a clear robbery. And yeah, man, I just shows me most people don't know how to score a boxing match or what's going on. They don't see what's going on. They just they're drinking beer. They're paying attention to something else, talking to people. I watch the fight. I'm watching what's going on, and yeah, it just blows my mind the way people are saying this guy won that world title. Nah, man, he's a paper champion. Crawford did not beat Madrimov, and Alvarez got to knock him out, which I think he is. It's man.
Wait a minute. So
against the bigger, yeah.
Are you gonna give Canelo credit though if he beats Crawford though?
No. This guy's coming up from 154 to 168. This guy's bigger. He's better, and I haven't been a fan of Alvarez since he gave up his middleweight title to avoid Triple G. Since then I'm like, I don't like him. And he got a gift decision in the first Triple G fight. Alvarez didn't get that draw. That wasn't a draw. Like they robbed Golovkin. Then in the rematch, he actually outboxed him, and that rematch showed me two things. Alvarez wasn't as bad as I thought, and Golovkin wasn't as good as I thought. That just I'm like, man, I just that's what the rematch showed me. Like, hey, this guy's not as bad. This guy's not as good as I thought. Because that first fight, man, he ran. He just ran from Triple G in that first fight.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah,
He back foot bitched it in the first one.
Yeah, since then, and then he gave up his world title. The very first Mexican world champion in history to relinquish his title for not fighting mandatory. Before that, we could say Mexicans are different. They lose it on the scale, or they lose their world title in the ring. After Alvarez, that's it. That's gone. We can't say that anymore.
Well, I'm curious, caller. When you say Crawford's a paper champion, you saying he got a gift decision against Madrimov. What'd you think about the Spence fight?
Oh, I mean, Spencer couldn't knock out Mikey Garcia. We're talking about a blown up lightweight. That should have been expected. He's going around talking. People are saying, "Oh, well, he boxed him." No, he was trying to knock him out, but he couldn't. And mind you, Garcia was in a survival mode, but still, Spencer's supposed to be this. How they do it with these fighters. They overhype them. But that's the promotion's job. That's the network. They invest money. So they're gonna overhype them. And that was the thing with Spence. When I seen that Mikey Garcia fight, I'm like, oh yeah, this guy's not good at all.
Well, listen, people in the chat are deriding you and rebuking you for your.
Oh, I know. I run across these people all the time. It's up to you. But when I talk to them on the street, they seem to, they have a different opinion. People tend to, I tend to make people think different when I see them in person.
Interesting. Yeah, you sound very persuasive.
We have a discussion, over the internet. Yeah, because they're fanboys. When they talk to me in person, they're like, "Oh, this guy really knows his boxing." But these guys not.
Do you
and they're probably from the USA? They probably watch basketball or football.
Do you also intimidate people? You think a little bit? How tall are you physically? Do you think you're physically intimidating these guys maybe, with your aura?
Nah, man,
No?
I'm
Okay.
old. I'm an old man.
Hey, by the way, let's take. Listen, we got to move on here, but I want to get your name or your nickname, whatever you want us to call you, and I want to start a prediction page right now. So you're going to be the first guy we take down the prediction for. What do we call you? And if you could just give us your prediction for Canelo Crawford.
Yeah, but my name is Elver Bota, and I got Alvarez by a knockout.
Any specific round?
Nope. But I think in the mid rounds, mid to late rounds, he's going to sleep.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go, Albert. I think. Listen, we plan on doing more shows in the build up to this fight. It's only gonna get crazier, and already people you're getting a reaction out of people out there. So I want you to. Okay, people are saying El Vergote. Is that what you said? That your name is El Vergote?
No, Elver Bota.
El Vergota, okay. Because somebody in the chat says he thought he heard El Vergote. El Más Vergón. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's not your name. All right, but listen, Elver, thank you for your call. Call back next time, all right, man? People want to hear from you again. Great call.
You guys have a great day.
You too, man. Take it easy. All right, that was Elver with an interesting call. He says Crawford is a paper champion. Wasn't too impressed by the Spence fight. He's got high standards, let me tell you. Not too impressed by much. And yes.
He's been sorry, Vidi. He's being facetious, I guess that's the word.
No, he sounded like an OG. You know what? Gonzalo, he sounded like an OG. He sounded like an OG. He sounded like if you were talking to him in person, you'd call him, instead of saying tú, you would say usted. You'd say that in the form, informal.
But
or formal. What am I talking about?
Elber, his first name, and Gota, his last name is kind of saying
Central American Spanish, right?
El Vergota saying like Seymour Butts in English.
That's what it sounded like to me, man. People are saying El Nalgón. I don't know, man.
El nalgón.
El nalgón. I don't know.
Hey, carnalgas. ¿Qué onda, home?
All right. Well, listen. I don't think we're gonna get any more calls right now. I mean, by the way, we've been on for 3 hours. Let me just see if I forgot any news here. So yeah, that's the first Elber. That was the first guy we took down the prediction for. I'm not gonna take your predictions down yet. You, the panelists, we're gonna save that for fight week. So make sure to think long and hard about it. I think Sobers is picking Crawford by utter domination. I think that's what he said.
For pillar to post.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah, I think I already talked about this last episode. Deontay Wilder is open to fighting Francis Ngannou in 2026. I'll tell you something. I don't know why. I'm intrigued by that fight. I would watch it. I would pay to watch it.
Yeah, I would like to see that fight.
Yeah, why not, man? Why not?
Watching Ngannou knock his ass out.
Oh, well, that's what I was saying on Friday. That
they're both around the same age, right? They're both kind of older guys.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say about Ngannou. He's close to 40. So is Wilder. And Wilder, he never really was heavy-handed necessarily. It was a speed combined with that power. But now with the speed, I don't really know how good his power is going to be. I mean, you got to land, right, to knock somebody out. And he could barely land on this last guy he fought over there in Wichita, Kansas. So I don't know. I don't know how good he's going to look from here on in.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see. You know, on a side note, did you hear how much of a scammer this guy, Francis Ngannou, turned out to be?
No, what happened? What?
So, you know, when he started boxing, right, he signed a deal with the PFL, and you know, he made all these conditions saying that, you know, I want to dictate how much my opponent gets paid, so I can make sure they're paid, you know, fairly, and I also want to be president of PFL Africa, and I want to start, you know, making an impact in African
wait.
MMA.
Hold on. Just to clarify, PFL, I thought, is that the Burn Knuckle thing, or?
It's Professional Fighters League or something, Pro Fighters League or something like that.
Okay.
It's
okay.
It's like UFC adjacent. It's like Bellator adjacent, right?
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, that's the company who bought his contract, and they allowed him to box. You know, that's how he got that deal with Joshua and Fury. You know what I mean? And the guy who negotiated the deal with him with the PFL, I think Francis Ngannou fired him before his fight with Joshua, and you know, it's kind of scummy, right? Because the guy stuck with him, you know, through the UFC, through the ups and downs, through like the little UFC thing.
Mm-hmm.
His career was kind of in limbo for a little bit. He helped negotiate the deal with the PFL, and then before he made that money with Joshua, he just kicked him to the curb. And now, like I was saying, part of the conditions of him signing to the PFL, he said he wanted to be president of the PFL Africa.
What the?
He wanted to get a foothold in African MMA and start uplifting it. And now they have two events in the PFL Africa, and Francis Ngannou didn't show up to either one of them.
Whoa! And
the chairman of the companies expressed how like disappointed he is. Like, yo, we kind of been counting on him. He's just been just not showing up. And Ngannou was asked about it, right, on the Ariel Helwani show, the little MMA show.
Mm-hmm.
And he just gave a goofy ass reason why he couldn't be there. You know, he said, "Oh, I think there should be more Africans on the card." You know, talking about the first one, and on the second one, it was literally nothing but Africans, and he just didn't show up. And I think the guy even asked him, "Would you ever consider fighting on one of these cards? You know, to support?" And he just gave an answer like, "Yeah, they don't pay me enough. There's not enough money to go around for me to fight on the card and everyone else too."
I mean, yeah, that's weird, man. That he, you know, some people, you know, for every fighter that gets screwed over by a promotional entity or something, there's obviously 5 promoters that are doing it. But every once in a while, you get what I'm trying to get at. I misspoke there. Usually, you get 5 promotional outfits, and there are screwing fighters for the most part in one way or another to certain degrees. But every once in a while, you get the opposite. Instead of the dog bites man story, you get the man bites dog story. The fighter screwing over the promotional entity, and that seems to be what Francis Ngannou is doing. I don't know much about the people that he's dealing with, but maybe they deserve it. I don't know. It would have been interesting to see, hey, how come you didn't show up to the press conference? You know, just I had a headache that day. I had a bad migraine. I had to stay indoors with the I had to stay indoors with the humidifiers, drinking some hot tea. I mean, come on. I don't know. That's interesting, man. That's interesting. At least he didn't pull a Bitcoin scam or something. You know, some sort of crypto scam. That seems to be on.
Oh, that's on the way.
He's got that in the back pocket. he's one of these days.
Yeah,
he's gonna
that's
pull
on
that
the
one
way.
out. The Engano coin. But listen, that's all I've got, man. We've been on for here for 3 hours since 6 in the morning. We gotta go. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like, hit the like, hit the like. Really appreciate it. Shout out to Sobers. Shout out to Gonzalo. Shout out to Chief for joining us. Really appreciate it. Listen, if there's anything we gleaned from this Crawford Ennis Canelo thing is that apparently people look at it that way. Yeah, people Mexicans can't spar Afro-Anglos. Afro-Anglos can't spar Mexicans. It's okay to be spying in camps, but win by any means necessary.
BDA, fuck it.
Yeah, man, that's the way it is. Apparently, it's war, according to Tim Bradley. He used the words war. I'm
war.
telling you, we're living in a different.
War.
We're different. Yeah, race war. Exactly. Yeah, we're living in different worlds here. Anyway, listen. Shout out again to Sobers, Gonzalo, Chief. Shout out to you, fellas. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. We gotta go. Shout out to everybody who called in, everybody who listened here in the chat, all of our listeners. Don't forget to hit the like on the way out. Hit the like, subscribe if you've yet to do so already. And let's give a big shout out to everyone in the chat. Aeon Season, I think I'm saying it properly. Hard Recall, Desperado, Johnny Blaze, Gene Ryu. Hold on a second. Where's my outro music? Where's my water? It's a line from The Rock. There we go. All right. Took its goddamn time. Shout out to everybody in the chat, like I said. Luis Phillips, Gene Ryu, Fluke, Clifton Dennis. By the way, Gene Ryu, BDA, Toronto or Montreal? What better to see? Yeah, visit Montreal, man. Visit Montreal if you like. What do they say? It's like France without the snobbish attitude. Although I see this, if you come in my neighborhood, I'm gonna give you the snobbish attitude. How about that? But who else we got here? Brown Diamonds, Fluke Duke, Team Batman Boxing, TK Comer, Marco Vasquez, Two Matador. Shout out to Two Matador. Who else was here? Cloudy Boxing, Clifton Dennis, Red Eye Fly Guy from Texas. Shout out to Texas. Hurricane Hank, Mark T, Dr. Beanzo, Diaper Dandy. Is that Matt Chad? How come I can't see the usernames? I see the fucking handles now, and they don't tell me who these people are. I have to recognize them by the avatar. Then Michael Poe. Shout out to Michael Poe, man. Shout out to Michael Poe, Warrior Way, Official Scorecard Boxing. If I missed anybody, it's because we gotta go. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to Food TV in the house.